once in my pod. I have some cast who needs me. Some cast I've needed so long. Am I singing too well?
I was just about to comment on how you were singing just like Joaquin.
For once unafraid, I can go where pod leads me.
Has he sung
Walk the Line?
That's
Oscar
right.
nominated.
But that was imitative, right? That was
Yes.
him doing an imitation, and he had so much bravado.
Yes.
That even though it wasn't an amazing imitation and his voice wasn't amazing, it was just kind of like, wow, look at him just throwing himself at
Let's
this.
get right into it.
He also becomes a rapper.
In this movie. He sure does.
Well, no, in the movie...
I'm not there.
I'm
not
still
there.
here.
Or-
I'm still here.
sorry.
I always get the two fucking titles flipped.
But is that the only time he's sung?
And in the song I'm
I
Still
think
Here,
so.
he does sing his own hook. And he sings it in a way, the titular track from, of course, the acclaimed film that resulted in many lawsuits, I'm Still Here. The way he sings the hook in that is very similar to the way he sings in Joker. I think Walk the Line is a combination of many months, if not longer, of coaching, going for a very specific imitative voice. I think he is the guy where, obviously, Joaquin is somewhat obsessive. If he focuses in on a specific task
right.
and wants to do it, and I think there was a fair amount of mixing.
Sure.
If you listen
they're
to
doing
Cash
stuff.
tracks side by side to his tracks, and I think he did those songs well, they changed the pitch entirely. He figured out how to make it work for him.
Look, I haven't seen Walk the Line in many years. I remember thinking that, again, I was more just like, he's making an effort, and I
pulled it off.
appreciate that. But
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like Johnny Cash, my favorite singer of all time,
Sure.
who has the most incredible voice that nobody could do.
But he pulled off something
he had
evocative enough.
attitude.
And
Yeah.
the attitude, and it worked.
It worked.
It worked.
Fine. Doesn't work in this one.
Well,
But I didn't leave this movie being like, Joaquin's singing voice, what a bummer. That'd be not in my top 50
That was the
complaints.
least of my problems.
Right.
let's do a quick speed round. What's your least favorite thing about this movie?
What's my least favorite thing about that? I can't speed read. That is so hard.
David, what's your rose and what's your thorn? When it comes to Joker,
it's Bud and Thorn,
Colin-
right? And
Bud and Thorn.
Okay,
right, and
yeah.
Rose, Bud and Thorn.
Yeah.
All right. My least favorite thing about this movie is how it
Wastes Lady Gaga.
It wastes Lady Gaga.
I think that probably has to be number one.
That is the biggest sin you can possibly commit.
You get this lady for one movie every 18 months, 2 years, right?
She has made 3 movies in total. Am I wrong?
She's also in Machete Kills or something, but
Oh,
we don't
right.
count that.
Okay.
It's
If we're not counting the 2 Robert Rodriguez movies, this is
It's
her
like a
third
star-
movie.
What's the second one?
Gucci.
No, she's briefly in Sin City 2.
Thank you.
Oh.
But
Right.
yes, no, she's
Yes.
made
3 movie
since
star
2018.
movies. Yes.
So 6 years, she's made 3 movies. So you get her every 2 years, and this is this is
put
what we did with her.
In a musical. Do they let her let loose, really? No, they do not.
No. Did they let her shake the cup of ice directly on Mike, as it were? Is that a good way to describe it?
Wow.
Let loose, go full
Sorry,
Joker
I'm
mode.
Drinking.
David
Drinking a
got
diet at
McDonald's
DC.
before we started our
Ben,
report today.
Ben, do you have a least favorite? Is yours the same answer?
I would say I don't really like the jail stuff, which
Right.
is...
Well, that's very minimal.
That's going to be tough
Just
to
a little bit
overcome.
of-
I'm
I
gonna
had
say-
issues with what I said. The jail stuff and the courtroom stuff. I definitely
Yeah.
didn't like either of those
Yeah,
elements.
those two elements,
those were
not
bad.
a fan.
Yeah. I was not into the part where it's a Joker movie.
I didn't like
some of the
part-
other stuff.
I didn't like any live action sequence in this movie. I thought the cartoon was okay.
Okay, can we all agree
wait.
the cartoon kind of rules?
Okay, no. I got so freaking mad when they started playing the cartoon
Why?
because all I could think about was
This
this
whole
is the
movie.
same studio
Yeah.
that put
Well.
Wile E. Coyote versus Acme or whatever that fucking movie is called
Yes.
in the garbage.
That it has the gall to
Right, to
open with the
harken
Looney
back
Tunes homage.
with
to a
a
Looney
Looney
Tune,
Tunes
yeah.
homage.
Look,
And look, talk about things full circle, full connective tissue between the 2 seemingly disparate movies we're talking about. There were 2 Looney Tune movies that Warner Brothers deemed unreleasable. Coyote versus Acme remains in weird limbo.
Right.
The other one, I think, is called The Day the Earth Stood. It's not called The Day the Earth Stood Stupid, but it's a Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, feature-length, 2D animated sci-fi comedy.
The Day the Earth Stood Stupid is a Futurama episode,
Thank
just
you.
FYI.
Great
Okay.
title.
That film,
Mm-hmm.
can you look up what this thing is actually
I'm
called?
trying to find it.
is
The day the Earth blew up?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is set for release by a little upstart distributor called Ketchup Entertainment.
Oh boy.
That's me squirting a ketchup bottle.
Which
they should
brings
do
us-
that as their logo.
Brings us to the second movie that we're covering in this episode.
Well, first, let's introduce the podcast.
Okay. What is this? Who are we? Where are we?
Who are you? What's
This
the
is-
show?
Blank Check with Griffin and David. I'm Griffin.
Damn, I'm unfortunately David.
I'm Ben.
And I'm the Joker.
A.K.A. Murray Barty.
I'm Murray Barty.
Producer Ben Deucer, Purduer, the yada, yada, yada. This is usually a podcast about filmographies. It still is. Podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their career and are given a series of blank checks, make whatever crazy passion projects they want. Sometimes those checks clear and sometimes they bounce, baby. And this is what? I don't know. Episode 499,
Nope.
episode 501.
Nope.
Wait a
Let
second.
me just check. I'm seeing here it's 500.
The episode everyone has asked us not to do is, in fact, commemorating a massive milestone.
Man, if we'd just not done this, episode 500 would have been Lost Highway, which is next week with David
Yeah.
Lowery, which in my memory was a really fun, good episode,
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah,
it's
Four
great.
years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And instead, this is going to be us just bashing our head against the wall.
At one point, it was going to be Fire Walk With Me, which I think
Yes.
also was, in terms of substance, a great episode. Was a bit of a complicated.
It turned out good.
It all
Yes.
turned out good,
Yes.
but there was a little bit of a crisis. There was rejiggering, response to the Joker, the release of good, all this stuff. We were like, let's just fucking pull everything together for a Wonka Man style new release check-in grab bag episode. This isn't going to be some big fucking back patty milestone 500 look back episode, but it also felt like we wanted to record something that felt a little outside of the mini series.
What? That's all nonsense. It just happened this way by mistake.
That's not true. There was some fucking there was rejiggering.
There was intentionality.
There was intentionality when we realized this could be the 500th
Yes.
episode versus an episode where we were like shouting into a laptop to our poor friend in New Orleans who was not being recorded.
There was a part of me that
which is
was like,
essentially what that was.
Correct.
was
Yes.
First Joker episode 250, and I checked, and it was close.
Wow.
What was it?
It's like 240 something.
Okay, wait, did you introduce the podcast?
Yeah,
Yes.
Blank Check, Griffin and David.
Yes. Here we are.
Now, we usually do miniseries on directors who fit the model of what we talk about. But early on in our show, we were kind of half committed to covering the DC universe,
Sort of by mistake.
jumping on and
But
off
we
the pond.
stopped, to be
We
clear.
stopped.
Yes.
When we did Nancy Myers, who was our first March Madness winner
Yes.
6 years ago, we ended that series with Home Again as a bonus episode, a thing we used to do in the pre-Patreon
a
days.
film directed by her daughter, Hallie Shire, that she was involved with. Like, she was on set.
Her and
she
Charles
was
Shire,
producing.
both very involved.
Right.
And
Oh, God. Episode 250 was The Rise of Skywalker. Ugh. Another joke.
but
of a
Joker's
movie.
like 241.
239.
Okay, close. But the fucking Rise of Skywalker, Jesus. But it is wild that, Joker 5 years ago. It's almost the exact halfway point of this show
Wow.
that we're now revisiting
I'm trying
episode
So
500.
I'm trying to find this.
Yeah.
We didn't want to do a Joker 2 episode. I'm just saying, I'm bringing this out
No,
here early. And this is Blank Check,
I
and we're
need-
doing a Joker
I
episode.
need to own this because I felt like this was my fault.
This is not true. This is my
it's
fault. Clearly.
Griffin
Yeah.
Newman's fault.
I'm
Well,
wearing this.
I
Flavor Flav wears a clock.
I'm-
That's a callback to Aloha, a movie we also have covered in the history of this podcast. This could be quoting a lot of Blank Check history.
Wow.
Oh, this is fun. Okay.
Yeah.
okay. So I have not seen Joker 1.
Still to this day.
Wow.
Still to this day. I tried to watch it when it came out and I made it maybe 30 minutes in before I turned it off because I just was like, why am I wasting my time? Granted, it was during the height of the pandemic where I tried to watch it, so it's not like I had many other things to do. But I was also doing a Rock of Love rewatch on Tubi,
Uh-huh.
which kind of felt like, I don't know, a better use
Sure.
of my energy. So, yeah, I was absolutely not interested in this exercise
But
until Lady Gaga was announced as Harlequin, and oh my God, they're making a musical. And then I was like, you guys, this is amazing. We have to do it. We have to do it.
so let's be very clear. This is my fault. David
is
wanted
David's-
to do
this is Griffin's
Aquaman.
fault.
You had the genius
That's
move
what
of-
it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh.
No, we can
We
litigate
made a
this
deal
whole
with
thing.
the devil.
We made a deal with the devil.
You are the
wanted
devil.
to do Aquaman. I
Yes.
was like, we're done with the DC thing. We haven't been covering them for years. And you were like, but we love James Wan. And I was like, leave the possibility of James Wan series later. Marie says, let's combine Aquaman and Wonka Man. It's fucking catchy.
It was a hit.
It felt like it was a hit episode.
It was
This
a
is the
big,
thing.
fat, tittied hit.
Thank you. I
You're
can't
welcome.
say it. You can.
Thank you.
But it was, and it is an episode that people have come back and said to me, like, that episode's just fun.
Much like our first Aquaman episode.
End of
which is what I
year,
thought was going to happen. Where I'm like,
everyone
those
being
movies are silly.
It's a
Yeah,
year-end
exactly.
catch-up. And also because we record so far in advance, and we have been recording even further in advance than usual because of you being a twin dad, tying back to Goodrich, which we'll talk about in a second, that we were like, is there an opportunity to combine two things here? Well, first, I'm like, David, if we're doing Aquaman episode, you have to agree to do Joker episode.
Yes, this became
That was
your
the double
price.
bargain.
And I want to be clear. I said no.
You said no.
I said that's too high a price
Right.
and I won't pay it.
So this is my fault. Marie
and then
did
you couldn't
endorse it.
think.
I endorsed
I
it.
think the Marie endorsement did help win.
I also did kind of endorse it too.
Well,
I'll take some
my
credit.
take
I
was-
thought it was going to be a
I
cultural
think
moment.
Everyone
It is.
thought it was going to be cool.
Well, okay.
Gaga's in it.
It's
Gaga's in
definitely
it.
not cool, but I want to defend myself by saying it is undeniably a cultural moment.
It is also a major moment for the purpose of this podcast.
Thank you.
This is almost 1 year ago. I finally found it. I had to search deep in my
Yes.
text message
We
history
planned the
because
show very far in
I
advance.
also I had a phase where I was playing a lot of the video game Balatro, which
Jesus.
where jokers are very important to your strategy.
Really?
Oh, so it was
Yes.
like hard to find.
Yes, so
'cause
it's
you
a
were-
lot of like me and my
Okay.
friends being like, so what was your Joker lineup for that
Joker's
hand?
like the card?
Yeah, Balatro, it's like a card. You probably like it. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well,
There's lots of Jokers in it, and you can use different Jokers to get different
Interesting.
bonuses and stuff like
like
that.
Cesar Romero?
Yeah, like there's definitely yes. All right, so I'm gonna find because like last year we also had this problem of like we didn't really know what to do for the sort of Christmas episode.
Oh, because we had a miniseries that was because
there was
of
like
new
a
releases.
spot on
There
the
was a gap.
schedule.
There was a question of like, do we go dark for 2 weeks? The point is, this has been one year.
Here's Griffin.
Yeah.
This isn't October 23rd, 2023. I'm going to say it. This is Griffin. I'm quoting. If this settles the issue, if we're going to do Aquaman 2, I do think we should also do Folie à Deux next year. I say, so you don't want Aquaman to be our goodbye to DC. And you say, I think Joker is his own thing now. I have no interest in waiting into future DC.
Right.
Folie
Your
à Deux is just
contention
going to
was
be insane.
Aquaman we should do to say goodbye to DC because James Gunn's taking over and this is the end of an era.
Right. This is the end of this silly DCEU. I mean, and it truly was, where Aquaman 2 came out and like Jason Momoa is just doing interviews where he's like, I hope I get cast in the new DC universe as something.
I look
Yeah.
forward to playing Lobo, fingers
Exactly.
crossed.
Like, it's like, hey, you're going to do sequel to Aquaman? And they're like, yeah, sure. Let me know if this suddenly jumpstarts that.
To
yeah.
basically do press for your $1 billion blockbuster sequel wearing a barrel with straps on it and a sign that says looking for
Yeah,
war.
I've reshot this movie 8 times. I don't remember who plays Batman in it. Like, I don't fucking know.
Wait,
what's
no
going
one
on.
plays Batman in it
Oh,
now?
they just got rid of that? Fine. And so this is my bargain. I'm quoting you again. This
Okay.
is my bargaining. I will agree to Aquaman 2 if we put Folie à Deux on the schedule. Marie says, let's let David have his Aquaman special. We don't even know if the Gaga Joker is actually a musical. So this is how long ago it is.
Wow.
And I said, like, if we don't do Aquaman, what do we do? Because I'm already shaking.
Sure.
And I say, my biggest fear with Joker is that if we hated the last movie so much that we banned mention of the word Joker on our podcast, which is true.
Yeah. To which I said, time to unretire it. Joker's back in the vernacular.
So we argued about this, but we did eventually give in, and because I wanted to do Aquaman, and we all, and even I, were a little bit like, I don't know, Lady Gaga,
And
Phillips, obviously,
The
certainly
trailer-
a
the
blank
first,
check.
Like, teaser
Well,
that they
came
put out,
way later, but the first
Yeah.
teaser certainly looked kind
it
of
looked kind of interesting.
Yeah.
splashy.
Now, my contention this whole time has been, I think there's a chance it's cool. Even
Yeah.
for us, a group of known Joker 1 haters.
I'm not a fan of Todd Phillips' film Joker, which made $1 billion at the box office, won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival, and was nominated for Best Picture, and Joaquin Phoenix won an Academy Award for
Insane.
Best Actor. In a storied career, a career I sometimes ding, but Joaquin Phoenix has given a lot of good screen performances, and his Oscar is for Joker.
But I appreciate you outlining all of that very quickly because I feel like this movie is undeniably a cultural moment. It is being treated like a grotesque crime scene. how did this happen?
Yes.
Right? And it's all the things you just listed.
Right. It drives me crazy that people are like, how did they give him all this money to make this? I'm like, look at what Joker won.
That is...
It made $1 billion.
It made $1 billion on a $50 million budget.
It was an R-rated movie about a mentally ill guy who kills someone live on television. That's basically a remake of 2 different Scorsese movies, but worse.
Sure, mashed together.
And it made $1 billion.
$1 billion.
The only movie I can compare to the rap sheet you just listed is Oppenheimer, right? Where you're like, here's like a movie that does not seem like an obvious commercial play that made $1 billion in theater, won Oscars. Oppenheimer didn't do the festival circuit, which is this whole other added level of like, we need to repeat. Joker won the Gold Lion, handed by Lucretia Martel.
From acclaimed Argentinian filmmaker Lucretia Martel, chair of the jury that year. Handed it to Joker in, I'll never forget, I was sitting at the Scotiabank Theater waiting to see Pain and Glory, a wonderful 2019 film that does deal with mental illness, among other things. Yeah. And I looked at my phone and I said out loud, someone was just walking by me who I didn't know. And I was like, Joker won the Golden Lion. And they went, what?
I mean, that is like a near unprecedented level of cachet, especially for something that could then very quickly be turned into, quote, a franchise movie. I remember when you said they're doing Joker 2. I can't remember if it happened on mic. I definitely remember it happening in a studio, maybe right before or after a recording. And I said, how could they do that? How did they possibly make a sequel to that movie? And your answer was, it made $1 billion.
Right. It's like you just have to.
You have to.
Right.
Part of this movie being a cultural moment is I think this might actually semi-permanently change a certain vein of Hollywood thinking of maybe a movie making $1 billion isn't an automatic, we have to make a sequel.
And not just we have to make a sequel, but we have to make a sequel at any price.
Correct.
With no sort of like fettering. Now, I hate the industry hand-wringing over like budgets.
Yep.
And profits and losses and all the shit that's happening right now. The tisk-tisking of like Warner Brothers, these fools giving him. The movie was a huge hit. It was beyond that. It was a cultural sensation. You should make a sequel. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that business decision.
No.
Now, do you maybe want to just like check the script, kind of just bat around a few ideas?
I think it's beyond that. I think it's like you want to make a sequel if they can come up with something good, right? Whereas I think
that's always true.
Their attitude was like, we don't care, guys. Do whatever the fuck you want. There was kind of an Alien 3. We can put anything in theaters that's called Joker 2, and it will make...
I mean, it's literally Joaquin Phoenix pissing on a wall for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Because I think their assumption was, worst case scenario, if this movie has a major drop-off from the first film, still, like, it makes $500 million worldwide.
But also, on paper, I think this works well.
I agree.
Okay, it's like,
on paper,
we're going to do Chicago, the courtroom musical,
all that
with
jazz.
Joker,
New York,
with a musical.
This
with
is
Lady
where you've
Gaga.
lost me. No. Because
wait, you don't think that sounds good?
No, it doesn't. God, I'm so angry. Okay, so
I just want to get ahead and say this episode's also about Goodrich, but go on.
We're going to talk about Hallie Shire's movie Goodrich too, but we'll do that in the back half.
A movie we greatly preferred.
We love Goodrich.
Certainly. Yeah. But we'll do that in the back half because
this episode is called Joker, Hallie, Goodrich, or Joker Rich Podcast Duh.
So if you tell me we're going to do Joker 2, we've cast Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn and it's going to be a musical, I'm like, that sounds great. If you then told me, and so I'm Zaslav or whoever.
Oh, hey, by the way, dude, fuck you.
What are you talking about? I look like I just hunted an elephant.
Eat my piss, asshole.
So I'm Zaslav. So I'm cutting right now. I'm cutting through the film strips of like Batgirl, and I'm just like, what is it?
Yeah.
And Todd Phillips is like, okay, here we go, buddy. Remember Joker?
So imagine him personally
just
by
like,
hand.
Fuck this movie.
He's running a nail gun through the hard drive.
Yeah, right. Hey, it's me, Todd Phillips. Hey, Todd, how you doing? Remember my movie Joker made $1 billion? Yes. Okay. Well, Joaquin wants to come back and Lady Gaga wants to play Harley Quinn and it'll be a sequel. That sounds great. It's going to be a musical. It's going to be a musical? Well, Lady Gaga, okay. It's going to be a musical, like a jukebox musical. Yeah. Don't worry. It'll be fun. Okay, what's it about? It's going to be like a courtroom drama where we just sort of go over the events of Joker 1.
Yeah.
Oh, does anything else happen? Nope. That's our whole plan. It's literally relitigating the plot of Joker 1 slowly.
And making you feel like an asshole for any opinion you had on the first movie. It is a movie that is equally contemptuous of any possible reading on the first
Leaving attitude aside, I literally just mean, what's the story pitch? He's on trial for Joker 1. Then what happens? Oh no, nothing. That's it. That's it. That's all that happens. He just goes on trial for shooting Robert De Niro.
You know what's incredibly telling to me?
By the way, a crime of which he is unambiguously guilty because it happened on television. So it's just a litigation of, is he crazy or is he sane?
Can I ask a question?
You can ask anything. This is a very
society
safe space.
crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't the whole thing about Joker and Batman villains that they do bad stuff and they get away with it?
I mean, Joker doesn't get away. People don't like that he does that.
But
Right.
all I'm saying is like, it's like, why does he need to be punished? Why
I'll
does
tell
he
you why.
need to go
Because
through the Gotham justice
and we'll dig into this,
system?
but because Todd Phillips' main driving force in making this movie is to say, this guy isn't the Joker. None of this matters. Fuck you.
He is not the Joker of comic book legend.
Right.
He is merely a man
Then why do we
who
care?
maybe inspires.
That is why this movie is inspiring a level of ire that I truly cannot recall the last time. Because even like Megalopolis comes out 2 weeks before this and people are like, I'm flummoxed. We've
But that's
covered
different.
movies that are hated before.
Sure. No, this is I mean, obviously the best analogy is the Seinfeld finale, which lots and lots of people have made that comparison. But the Seinfeld finale, you know what? The Seinfeld finale, which I don't really like I assume there's contrarian kind of takes on it now, but I'm still not a fan because it's boring.
Well, I think
Like my whole beef with it is like, again, it's like, this is just a clip show. Like, this is dull.
You and I agree with that.
Right.
I like the meat of the Seinfeld finale.
I don't mind the sort of thrust of it, but
the clip show aspect of it sucks.
It's just a boring thing to watch.
Yeah.
And I do think, like, at least in Seinfeld, Larry David is like, look, I just want you to understand these people are kind of a nightmare. And like, yes, most viewers probably, we knew that, Larry, but whatever.
I think that Hangover Part 3 does as well. Go on.
What? I don't think that's what this movie is doing. I think this movie doesn't really have anything to say.
I agree. I was texting with a friend of ours trying not to blow my takes on mic or pre-mic. And I said, this movie is the equivalent of like a teenage boy arguing with his parents and slamming his head against the wall as if that settles the argument.
I agree with you.
And it's like, no, that was just a dramatic thing to do. And in the process, you gave yourself a headache.
Like, the movie's basically like, you don't get it. Joker is mentally ill. I got that.
We got
I
it.
watched the first movie.
We talked about it in our episode on the first movie that I was like, the thing a lot of people were saying, like, so this guy we're supposed to extrapolate goes on to become the Joker, is able to become like the clown prince of crime. And you cited an interview Todd Phillips had done where he said something to the effect of, my headcanon is almost like, this is not really the Joker, but perhaps there is a child watching the TV who sees the Robert De Niro shooting, and that inspires him to become the Joker. He's like the text, which I, at the time, said, then what's the fucking point of this movie? He has made an entire second film just underlining that point.
Wait, that's crazy. I didn't know that he talked about that
said it.
before.
Oh, he talked about it plenty.
That's what's wild about this. So when the ending happened, I was like, okay, so he really just wants to underline, you guys read my movie wrong.
But like, how did we read his movie wrong?
I agree.
That's my question with this movie. I'm like, what do you think we didn't get the first time?
Right. But like, he's equally contemptuous of Catherine Keener and the Joker acolytes and the prison guards and everybody. Like, the people who love him, the people who try to empathize with him, the people who idolize him, the people who hate him. Like, the movie is just constantly like, everyone's read on this guy is wrong. This guy's just kind of meaningless. He doesn't fucking matter. The courtroom thing, you saying how, like, if he goes in and pitches that and you're Zaslav and you put the scissors down for a second and hear that, you go, let's pivot.
And let's not forget that it's like, and I budget $200 million. And Zaslav is like, for what? But anyway.
Catherine Keener is the third lead of this movie.
She is fourth build.
Behind Gleason?
Gleason
Yeah.
is third build, but I would call Keener, I would say she has a little more of an arc.
Right.
Yep.
She is not in any of the marketing.
No.
I was astonished to hear that she was in it, let alone in this big of a part. Which made me realize, oh yeah, They basically have kept the courtroom shit entirely out of the marketing for this movie.
They basically just made the marketing Joker and Gaga dancing around.
Yeah.
Can I ask sorry, I realize I'm always like, can I ask a question?
You can just ask a question.
I know. This is like
you can make a statement.
This is a tick I need to work on.
Women have to just be loud and
I know nothing about annoying podcast ticks. I couldn't relate to this.
We talk a lot about movie popcorn buckets. Did you know? That's
David
where
and
I was
I
gonna-
both.
This rollout for a fucking popcorn bucket question.
No, Marie, I'm glad you asked for permission.
Thank you.
So deeply.
Question number 1 is there a rule where we're not allowed to make popcorn buckets for R-rated movies?
No, there's a Terrifier 3 bucket.
There's a Terrifier 3 bucket?
Yeah, you can eat out of Art the Clown's head with a Santa Claus hat on top of it.
So, but were there no Joker 2 buckets?
Correct.
That should have been the first sign that
there was a
something was wrong.
Well, this is a dangerous question you asked, Marie. I'm going to say this very quickly. There was no merchandising for the first Joker, not even like high-end adult collectible shit, which people assumed they would do. And it was apparently a Todd Phillips decree in terms of the framing of this is a serious movie and not a franchise movie.
Because all of his
Sorry,
stuff
I'm
with
making
this.
the jerk-off motion right now next to the microphone.
And then like a couple years later, they allowed like $10,000 statues and busts and things that are like absurd. But there's been this real like, even beyond like the fucking Matt Reeves Batman, which is not child friendly and was merchandised to death in every corner.
Yeah.
It does feel like he has exerted some control of like popcorn buckets frames this as a thing. I would not be surprised if he kiboshed it personally.
Well, I think that's stupid because in the year of our Lord 2024, if a Denis Villeneuve movie has a popcorn bucket,
well, this speaks to the
your
weird
fucking Joker movie can have a popcorn bucket.
No, but it can't. But this is the thing. Exactly. This is Todd Phillips's. But this is what makes me so mad.
There's an insecurity to him. Denis Villeneuve has the confidence to be like, if they make a fucking popcorn bucket that looks like a fleshlight that doesn't take anything away from my movie. And Todd Phillips is like, if there are like $300 Japanese dolls of Joaquin Phoenix that take something away from my movie, which speaks to his insecurity about, I'm a comedy filmmaker making a prestige movie of a comic book character, and I need everyone to know that this is serious.
I need everyone to know that this is serious, but to quote the Nick Pickerton tweet from a million years ago, do you know the tweet? The most intensely challenging, daunting role that any actor can play is that of the clown who fights Batman. Which is like this absurd thing of like, I'm making a Joker movie. I'm making a movie about the Joker character from comic books who's been in many movies. Oh, that sounds fun. Is it going to be like pulpy? It's kind of pulpy. Yeah, I'm doing this 70s riff thing. Like, oh, okay, cool. But it can't be taken as pulpy. It must be taken as a serious drama. It must be entered in the Venice Film Festival. And what happens? He fucking wins. So for this one, he's like, premiere it at Venice again, please. 6 weeks ahead of release. Everyone sees it and is like, wow, we're a pile of shit on a plate. Like, but his pretension has gotten the better of him. And like, also, this is a movie that about Joker and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's a cartoon character from the 90s.
Yes.
She's not even some like storied, historical, like, Bill Finger created Harley. No, it's like in the 90s, they're like, there should be a girl Joker.
Right, but
and she talks like this.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is now another member of the American canon of art is fucking Harley Quinn. Her name's Harley Quinn, like the word Harlequin.
And even like Margot Robbie had to make a statement on some red carpet while like promoting on the Barbie Awards campaign. That was like, look, I always intended Harley Quinn to be a role that could be reinterpreted by multiple actors.
I don't feel wait to see Gaga's take on the character.
Harley Quinn is already turning into the Nick Pickerton tweet about Joker, where it's like,
right. It's like, this is also like, this is like America's King Lear and fucking Lady Macbeth is like Joker and fucking Harley Quinn.
Right. That it's multiple actresses playing Queen Elizabeth on The Crown,
exactly.
and it's like this is
shit.
You have temporary ownership of this.
I'm not here to shit on like Bruce Timm and Paul Dini for making Harley Quinn's a successful comic book creation. She's fine.
And her movie, Birds of Prey, I like a lot.
It's a movie I think is fun.
It's okay.
Okay, well,
I find it to be massively flawed.
You guys are boys.
I like it.
You guys are boys.
I am a boy, and I'm a boy who has a crush on Ewan McGregor and on half the fucking women in that movie.
Yeah.
Wait, which ones don't you have a crush
all
on?
of them, right? Yeah. And the egg sandwich. I just think that movie is kind of narratively a bit of a mess.
Egg sandwich. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you don't like the egg sandwiches.
Oh, you don't like the egg sandwiches?
No.
Look,
That's my only hang up with that movie.
the weirdest thing is that the closest comp to this movie is Captain Marvel and the Marvels, right? Like, it's so funny to think about Joker, the esteemed prestige project that actually like did all this, got all these awards and stuff, making $1 billion, and then the sequel coming out a little too late, coming out like 5 years later, and audiences aren't just disinterested, they're like, no, right? And it makes like 1/10 of what the first movie made. It's the exact same journey Captain Marvel had to the Marvels, except no Oscars, no awards. But Captain Marvel also was this phenomenon that made $1 billion, and people were like, I guess we kind of got to give it up.
But like, you step back from the Captain Marvel's thing, right? And you're like, that is this weird, like, 5 cultural things all colliding, and multiple moments on both movies for why the first one overperformed and why the second one underperformed so dramatically. And in both cases, very little have to do with the actual film.
The actual product on screen.
Right.
But
whereas Joker has to do with these 2 movies in a weird way. And all these autopsies of like, whose fault is this? Did Mike DeLuca need to like fucking tighten the leash? Did Todd Phillips need to show self-discipline? And I'm like, this movie got made because everyone rewarded them as much as they possibly could have for the first film.
They gave them a blank check.
They gave them a fucking blank check.
Which is why we're covering it on the show.
Can I tell you my favorite theory about why this movie is bad? Because Bradley Cooper and Todd Phillips dissolved their producing partnership.
Now, why did they do that? Do we know?
I don't know.
I mean, Bradley Cooper's a busy man.
Does Bradley Cooper not have a credit on this?
He does not.
They stopped working together in 2021.
Interesting.
And obviously, Todd Phillips produced A Star is Born, right? Like, they goes both ways. Bradley Cooper produced War Dogs, I think.
And he produced Joker.
And he produced Joker.
I know
That's one of his Oscar
Joker.
nominations.
Yeah.
One of his 15 Oscar nominations. So that tomorrow when he
Todd
plays,
doesn't get a credit on Maestro?
No.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. No.
No.
Yeah, at that point, they
I
are
think
right.
Yeah.
Spielberg and Scorsese get credits on
Heard of
Maestro.
him?
Yes. No, I've heard.
But all I'm saying is if Bradley was in the room, a lot of those musical sequences would have been different. I think a lot of the use of Gaga would have been different.
I agree with you, but I also do think fundamentally there had to be someone being like, you need a bigger story structure here than just relitigating Joker 1. Something has to happen in this movie. And Phillips is like, no. This is an anti-things happening movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie about like mushing the audience's face into like, you're all depraved for liking Joker, like you say, or disliking Joker, or for just making an icon of this sick man. Right.
If you take him seriously, you are like a pretentious, condescending, cultural elitist. Right. If you valorize him, you're a psychopath.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fundamental thing you need to understand is he's just a sick man who dies like a sad death.
Who's unimportant.
At the hands of a rando who maybe he becomes the Joker. I don't care. I don't care about the Joker.
We all became the Joker.
He's not funny. He's not smart. He comes really fast. He can't hold his shit.
That was okay. So if we want to talk about
how slow is he supposed to be?
If we want to talk about roses and thorns,
I mean, the man's not having a lot of sex.
When the sex scene plays out in a 2-shot without a cut, and I was like, this is going to end in 15 seconds, isn't it?
Joker's
I love when he goes, can you put it in? And then he just kind of awkwardly thrusts. And you know what? My husband came with me to see this movie because he said he didn't want me going alone.
Hey, that's a good husband.
Which I was like, why? Because you're afraid of like Joker fans hurting me.
He was worried you were going to get Joker pilled?
Yeah, no. He was like, no, I just think it's like so embarrassing for you to go see this movie alone that
not wrong.
Need to be your emotional support human.
Sure.
The first thing he said was like, wow, it's crazy that Joaquin, his last 2 movies were like him awkwardly thrusting in weird sex scenes. Because Napoleon also and also has him like just humping the stuff and being awkward and weird. And then the more I thought about it, I was like,
he does it in The Master. He fucks the sand lady on the beach.
This is a thing that
he builds a sand lady just to fuck her poorly. Yeah.
And I also weirdly think the Joker and Napoleon performances are kind of similar, where he doesn't seem that locked into either of them.
Oh, so I like him in Napoleon a lot. I think he's fun in that.
I like Napoleon, but I think that the movie isn't taking itself seriously in a lot of ways.
For sure. That movie does not take itself very seriously.
Which Joker 2 does feel like it's taking itself seriously.
Oh, does it?
This is another fascinating cultural moment around this movie, right? Is like starting around Napoleon, there starts to be this unpacking of the history of Joaquin Phoenix trying to quit projects.
Right.
And being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no take on this. You need to let me quit.
He
and
is
beg it.
quietly notorious for, within weeks of a film starting, having a sort of freeze up moment where he's like, I don't think I want to do it. I don't think I know what I'm going to do. I don't, I want out.
Sometimes
and having to be
directors
kind of
have,
talked down.
and
Right.
other directors have had him run, and the movie panics and they have to cast someone else. What was the one recently that came to light?
Shyamalan mentioned it. He was supposed to be the star of the Split.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
McAvoy.
Of course.
I think
part-
McAvoy
yes.
was the one talking
Yes.
about it. But I think
Yeah.
that had been reported before.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
makes total sense.
Yes.
Because they'd worked together twice before. And of course, Phoenix is the guy you think of for
Yeah,
that
For-
role.
Totally.
to play a mentally ill person? Joaquin?
Mm-hmm. And I wish he had done Split, because then he probably wouldn't have fucking done Joker.
Probably.
He probably
I
would
know,
have been
I
like,
think
I already
You
did
know
that.
what? You're totally right.
Right.
Because
And then Feige could have gotten him for Doctor Strange, and the MCU could have imploded from within.
Well, this is the thing, that he was this white whale for
Whoa.
Feige, that he in all these meetings would be like, I don't think our working styles are compatible.
Right.
Like, it was
there
always
was some
this
self-awareness from him.
Right, where
Yeah.
he was like, this is not me like refusing to engage with the Marvel thing. I don't think this is going to work. Feige wanted him to play Hulk, Bruce Banner in the Ruffalo position
Long
for
ago.
Avengers, wanted him to play Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Those are the two big ones where like they held off.
They
for a
rolled out the
while.
carpet. They were like,
Right.
what can we do? Yeah.
Right. And he was just like, I have this awareness. What's come out in some of this like post-autopsy on the Joker failure,
And his recent abandonment
Well,
of the Todd Haynes
I want to say
film.
that, but
Right.
yeah, that he at one point went to his reps and was like, everyone wants me to do a comic book movie. What if I could do like a villain movie? Is there a way to do this kind of thing? So that when Phillips had this Joker pitch, the threads unified. I do agree with you that like Split is a better version of what he had an itch to do. And if he had done that, he probably never would have won an Oscar.
Sure. Well, he probably would have won an Oscar for one of his better performances.
Also, McAvoy's incredible in Split.
Oh,
That's the thing. The thing about McAvoy in Split is like it all worked out. That's a great performance. And beyond the fact, if you're learning like McAvoy basically jumped aboard a couple weeks before production, you're like, Jesus, what a heroic job by
Totally.
him.
His body just looked like that?
I guess so. He lost a little muscle in order to play the role. But he walks off of this Todd Haynes movie, rude to another Todd. He walks off of this Todd Haynes movie in this sort of like calamitous spiral. Like he has left this production in a lurch. They cannot replace him.
Treated him very badly. One of our great artists. I wish I could do Trump just to do shit.
He's a
like that.
chameleon. He wants to try his hand in every genre. I mean, my Trump is me 1/4 committing to an impression of James Austin Johnson's impression, who is the only good Trump impression that still exists. But yes, there's this huge fallout from this, right? And there is a public, I think, a widespread backlash of I'm reading people who are not super engaged with movie culture online being like, why are they not suing this guy? This is unbelievable. How do they allow him to act this way? Everyone else lost their jobs.
Yeah.
Like
He
$10 million
totally fucked
lost
over a
because of
production.
this?
Right. It's crazy.
And the thing I kept seeing in comment threads was people being like, hey, guess what? Joker's about to make a stupid amount of money. He'll pay off whatever fucking penalty. When Joker's a hit, everyone will forgive him. In Hollywood, they'll just ignore the bad behavior, which has always been like, hey, Joaquin hits just enough that even when he does his weird periods, his I'm still here, when he comes back with a hit or a triumph, people are like, I guess Joaquin, what are you going to do? This movie being such an atomic bomb right after the Todd Haynes thing.
Right.
And now this influx of stories of people being like, yeah, there were these other times on set where he was like, I do think everyone's backing off and being like, is it worth working with Joaquin?
I think there might be a bit of a Joaquin break for a bit. And I think also
I do think he's gonna step back for a
yes,
bit.
and I think there like the fact that like Beau is Afraid, I think was greenlit at a high budget. That was partly because it was Joaquin coming off of Joker. And obviously that movie I think is really honestly brilliant, but didn't make much money. And then Napoleon also, Joaquin playing Napoleon, that's a selling point for that movie. It's like, we got fucking Joaquin Phoenix to do this.
the Gladiator reteam.
And now it's, that I just think it's going to be a few years before that happens
Yeah,
again.
I
Like,
think he
won't
might
be able
enter
to, like-
another wilderness period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another question I
Don't
have.
worry, he won't get far on foot. That's the Joaquin movie people
David?
forget, man. People forget that one. I
I
saw that film
forgot
in
it.
a theater.
100 comedy points.
Woo! Woo!
He made a Gus, but he walked off a Todd.
That is the last Gus Van Sant film.
Really?
To this day. That is his most recent
Well,
film.
you're
Well, I guess
forgetting that he directed
the Swans
Yeah,
Capote
FX's
thing.
feud,
Yeah.
Capote versus the Swans.
I swear to God. You know, I've been really into baseball this year. It's been like a sort of falling back in love for me thing. Like I started last year when the pitch clock came in, but this year especially. Now I'm reading these like old Roger Angel books from the 60s and 70s.
Who's that?
He's like a preeminent sort of poet laureate of baseball.
Okay.
Like wrote lots of books. And you're reading him in the 60s, especially writing about like television essentially coming to baseball, right? Like that's the dawn of kind of like, the game is sort of changing to accommodate television. And I'm really sad about this and that, right? And you just think about like, man, those were the days. There were just so few things for us to focus on, right? That you could be upset that baseball was on television because you're like, shouldn't people just have to go to the ballpark, right? Now it's like Capote versus the Swan is a fucking television event. Like, remember when Capote had a fight with some ladies in Manhattan, like high society?
He was mean to the ladies who used to drink with in the press.
Hey, guys,
Let's make a movie about it. No. Let's clear out the decks. 10 episodes on
10
this.
hours.
People killed themselves, okay?
I know
It was a feud.
What a feud.
They don't use that title lightly. It is wild. Here's
sorry.
another question on the Joaquin line that I was field testing this morning. Do we think they put Joker on the bench for a while?
Oh.
They should, yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like, as James Gunn is preparing to now like do his new strike on the DC universe, first of all, I would bet money that Barry Keoghan as the Joker does not return.
I would too.
I think that
performance was a failure, and it's not something that people remember or like about that movie.
And I imagine Matt Reeves and Barry Keoghan meeting in the middle of a dark alleyway, shaking hands and going, I think it's best for both of us. We're on the exact same page.
What are you talking about?
See, he's barely in it.
He's
You've
not
seen
in
this
it,
movie
really.
2 times.
Maybe just one time. Remember the
Pattinson Batman movie?
I've seen this movie many times.
Yeah.
Actually,
There's one
put it on
sequence
in a comfort watching.
I
that makes
can
sense.
see it because it's got this
the
like
Riddler's
slow
in
mood.
prison and he starts talking to someone else who's also an
But
Arkham.
here,
At the end of the
it's
movie.
right at the end of the movie. So if you're putting it on for comfort, you might not be making it to hour 3.
It is Academy Award nominee Barry Keoghan playing.
I've totally forgot about this.
Exactly.
It's one scene. They filmed another scene that
they cut stuff.
And there was the
put out.
description of the scene, and people were like, that sounds good. Why did they cut that out? And then they put it online, and you're like, totally get why they cut it out.
He's also got really distracting fake makeup.
Right. It's like kind of a more extreme version of the Heath Ledger.
Everything about it,
Glasgow
it's like
Smile kind of thing.
the face is Heath Ledger cranked up. The voice is Heath Ledger cranked up. The affectation.
It's not enough of a take because there's no further takes to be had.
It's gnarlier.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's like there's no new Joker takes.
I go back to my take, which is 8 years from now, after a long grace period, right? Give it a full fucking Batman and Robin 2 Batman Begins. I want like fucking Richard E. Grant wearing face paint with no scars, slicked back hair.
More of a debonair
comedy.
classic Joker.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that.
Like I want fucking emaciated, fancy,
dandy Joker.
I want dandy
classic Joker.
But the only place we have left to go is go all the way back to he is a theatrical cartoon character.
But also, if someone just wants to say to me, like, you know what? There's been like a lot of Joker stuff, and we're kind of just not going to do Joker. Pretty much, we're just not going to talk about it.
Thrilled.
I'd be like, yeah, sounds good.
I do want to say though that I do think there is room for interesting Joker interpretations still, as evidenced by the People's Joker.
Sure.
Well, I think the People's Joker rules.
But the People's Joker,
I did not watch Joker 1 to prep for Joker 2. I watched People's Joker.
Yeah. Well, People's Joker, I already was one of my favorite movies of the year.
But it's also about the conversation we're having, right? About like what's the pop culture place of this
You
character.
have not seen it yet, right? Have you seen it, Ben?
I have.
Yeah. I mean, it's that, but it's also, the thing I was surprised by was I was very interested in seeing it, but I assumed it was going to be more of a like, fuck you movie. That its main reason for existing was to be like flip off IP.
No, there's like genuine affection.
I think the whole thing Vera Drew is doing in that movie, which is like kind of remarkable, is you're like, oh, this movie has like a perfectly structured emotional story in a way Joker Folie à Deux does not, that feels very personal, and is her making the case of like, there are reasons to reinterpret these characters to let storytellers tell very specific personal stories through the prisms, things you maybe can't do without using the like lens of, characters and tropes we know. She finds new fucking things to do with all of like the supporting cast of the Batman universe, and is basically this argument for like these things should be like accessible. They shouldn't be like gate kept, If we're going to contend that like fucking Joker is our like Hamlet and the character that needs to be reinterpreted, then you actually need to open this up rather than turning this into this fucking dick measuring contest of like who can get more twisted, which is where the dead end we've gotten to is just like, how do you make Joker more and more extreme and bleak and realistic?
Right.
And
there's no way to do that anymore. And so hopefully there's no more Joker for a while. Thank you. Should we talk about Joker, Folia, do just briefly? Favorite scenes?
I liked when they had sex because it made me laugh. I ordered, I saw this movie at Nighthawk, which for folks who don't know, it's a theater in Brooklyn, like the Alamo, where they bring food, but it was the original dine-in movie theater in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Great food.
And they had a special Joker pie.
It looked delicious.
It was really cute.
It was the guy had the red and green.
It was a key lime pie with cherry whipped cream. So it was pink whipped cream and then a maraschino cherry on top. So that was good.
Okay. The musical numbers, the set, the costumes, anything, guys?
Half-assed, man.
Half-assed?
I think he films the musical numbers very sort of plainly and like didn't do much for me. The production value of the film is fine. Like much like the first Joker, it doesn't look bad. Like, it looks fine. Like, yeah, the costuming and the sets are fine. The location stuff is fine. The first movie has more.
I have things to say about this. I just want to quickly,
but like there was no razzle dazzle.
You do the thing with the like the Sonny and Cher show or whatever.
Yeah,
but there's like not. They do more in Saturday Night when they show the fucking what's his
Milton
Berle variety show behind the scenes.
Do you see his dick in that movie?
Nobody talks about it a lot.
Of course, he would never shut up about it.
I just want to.
Wait, no. Do they pull it out? Does he? He does pull it out.
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Oh my god. Have you? Has anyone here besides me seen it? Okay, I forget. They might have pulled a Dirk Diggler with like a foot.
Before we fully move, does he show it to Alan Zoibel in the movie?
No, it's to Chevy Chase and Kaya Gerber. He's flirting with Kaya Gerber and Chevy Chase. Sorry. Corey Michael Smith was like, "Fuck you, old man." He's like, "Fuck her with my giant cock."
I just want to quickly, before we dig into all of this, say that Murray got the Joker pie, which looks good. Ben also saw it at Nighthawk and said he considered getting the cocktail called That's Life. And what stopped him was, and I'll read the ingredients, see if you can guess which one stopped Ben from ordering it. Silky Irish whiskey, Laird's Bottle and Bond.
I don't know what that is.
Is there a sign check from Babe Ruth coming out?
Oh, okay, cool.
Peach liqueur.
Okay.
Lemon.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, that sounds like a perfect.
These flavors all
and
go
also
together.
tobacco bitters.
Yeah.
What are those?
I don't know, but I will say thematically appropriate.
Yeah, he's just ripping cigs the entire fucking movie.
50% of this film's running time is shots of him smoking a cigarette, tilting his head all the way back.
Yeah, all he does is tilt back and smoke.
Yeah. This is the shit I hate in Joker, which is like Todd Phillips seeing him dance one time and being like, oh, that's good. We're going to have you dance 20 times. Landing on that shot one time and being like, fuck, we're going to do this shot 40 times.
To do something that I hate to do, which is praise Todd Phillips' 2019 film Joker.
Uh-huh.
That film is a little rattling. And it has moments that really got to me.
I think we both agree that the De Niro sequence is undeniably
quite
effective
arresting
at what it is trying to do.
And like the stuff of him like laughing on the bus and like, working at the weird place with the, where is it that he works? I can't remember where he works.
He's like a clown for hire.
Yeah,
right?
you know, like
the clown store.
Movie,
the clown factory.
That movie is a portrayal of a very damaged, ill person, right? And just sort of descending into this terrible act. And I did not think that it was a particularly like evolved movie or that smart.
I agree.
But like it was somewhat visceral to watch and it's, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's a movie with a story. And I think Phoenix is a ham. I've always said that. He's a hammy actor and he needs to kind of have the right guardrails around him. But he's effective in the movie. I prefer You Were Never Really Here in like if he's going to do that mode, which I know you agree.
Yep.
But anyway, This performance is so embarrassing. His performance in this movie is so embarrassing, right? That it makes me think he was bad in the last one, that maybe he's always been bad. Things like him doing the Foghorn Leghorn voice or the British accent, like when he's like on trial representing himself. I'm just like, that's like me being asked in 5 minutes to be like, what would like a crazy person do? Right? Like, no, like who thinks he's a comedian? Like no thought whatsoever into how this character thinks or behaves. He's better in this movie when he's in Fleck mode, I guess.
But I also...
He's a little more going on there.
I mean,
he's terrible when he's in Joker
I think
mode.
this movie is bad and I don't like it. I'm going to play, dare I say it, Joker's advocate for certain aspects of this film that
This film, no.
There are certain aspects that
he's coming after you.
What's his name again?
Roger Page's character. I can't remember.
Okay.
Dragons.
Yeah, he's got the action figure on his desk. There are certain aspects of this film I found compelling in spurts. There are pieces of things.
We already talked about the sex scene.
The sex scene's the only good part.
We'll talk about spurts.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think the cartoon is great.
That's 2 minutes.
I'm going to do an accounting
I don't even
here.
think the cartoon is that great. The cartoon is fine.
It's fine.
We can just find some things
Why?
that are at least
Why?
fine.
This is the position.
I had a decent burger at the Alamo.
Congrats.
Guess how many people were in my screening?
Where?
At the Alamo.
5. 0?
Goose egg.
You were
Now,
the
I
only
saw the film at like 12:15.
But that actually must have been nice for you because
No,
you've
it was
been,
not nice.
You've been on daddy duty. Like you like
Yes, and I would like
get a
to
big
go see
room
movies.
alone to yourself.
I want to go see fucking J.K. Simmons whipping out a fake dick. I want to see Megalopolis. I don't want to see this shit.
You did send a series of angry texts in one of our other group texts that was like, I barely seen any movies in 2 months and now I have to see fucking Joker Folie Deux because of Griffin. And I was like, I'm here in this thread.
I have to see it. I have to see it like with the runway of like every critic on earth being like an absolute waste of time.
So you saw
like
it.
not just bad, but just boring.
But
right?
also, like, you saw it with 0 people in the audience.
0.
Like,
it was me and my waiter.
like day 8 of release.
Right. It was within the second week of release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but tip of the second week.
Tip of the second week.
Yeah.
I went on Indigenous Peoples Day. And
Your Honor.
there were a total of 0 other people.
There you go. There you go. It was like your Horizon screening. Wish I'd just shown. If they'd just been like, sorry, the picture's broken, we're just showing Horizon, I would have been like, fantastic. Hot dog.
I should have gone on Indigenous Peoples Day because I have 10 free tickets to the Nighthawk that I have won as prizes from trivia.
We're both holding hot
And
hands.
I was like feeling really good about not paying to see Joker 2.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, I found out that you can't use them on weekends and you can't use them on Fridays either.
They
You can
have
only
some
use them like
blackouts.
Monday to Wednesday.
And you have to wait. It has to be past the first week of
right,
release.
which I knew Joker.
Yeah. So
I
you
knew
were waiting
Joker. I
out.
was like, oh, it's second week. That's
Yeah.
fine. We can use it. But unfortunately, I ended up paying $34 to go see Joker 2.
Okay. Play Joker's app. We need to move on to Goodrich, and we'll circle back to. But I just want to give Marie a little chance, a little bite at Goodrich. But some other things you like.
James Seamus, something of a patron saint of the Blank Check podcast, a Hulk poster hanging above your shoulder, right? When I first met him and told him how much I loved Hulk, he sort of went like, "Oh, the fascination with the wrong object," which is a term that has stuck with me, right? And I was like, no, I genuinely love it. And he's like, no, I get it. I have the same thing of like, when a movie is so confidently made incorrectly, there's something compelling about trying to make sense of it. And I admittedly have like a big soft spot for that, right? And like Hangover Part 3 is another movie that I think is bad and doesn't work. I rewatched it for the first time in 10 years last night in prep for this. I was astounded by the degree with which it doesn't work. It's so much stranger than I remembered. But I've always sort of vouched for it because I do not like the first 2 Hangover movies. I like a couple of Todd Phillips movies a lot. I obviously stand really hard for Due Date.
You like Due Date.
I do think Old School is kind of the like frat pack urtext.
There's
it's
nothing
kind
wrong
of the
with Old
pinnacle
School.
of that for me.
I mean, there are plenty of things probably that don't hit well these days.
Sure.
Old School, but Old School, you're like,
Absolutely. Right. Matt Singer, our friends, writing a book about that whole era, and I'm like, I do think Old School is quietly the key text of that entire comedy movement.
God, I always forget he did Road Trip.
Yeah. Road Trip, I like okay.
It's okay.
School for Scoundrels, I like okay. Starsky and Hutch, I like okay.
It's okay.
War Dogs is kind of interesting. I feel like you're with me.
I am with you.
Doesn't totally work, but felt like an interesting transitional movie for like, this guy's trying to turn into something else. Where he landed, we don't like. But it was the start of him like flexing whatever Scorsese muscles.
You just glossed over the G.G. Allen film completely.
Yeah.
Which I do feel like
he starts out in documentaries. He does that. He does a film called Frat House, which was like a big Sundance hit.
About like hazing and stuff. But no, the G.G. Allen movie is, I think we talked about it on the first Joker
talked about
episode.
it a lot
It's
in
very,
the first
you know,
Joker
you can
episode.
see the continuum, right? Of what interests him.
That he loves like the idea of being transgressive, countercultural, that he is this very bizarre, like wildly successful, largely very mainstream filmmaker working with big stars and big budgets who gets off on the idea that he's like fucking sticking it to the man in the institution, spitting everyone's eye, right? Which is hard to do when you're also fucking winning in the movie industry.
Yeah.
So there is this...
That's so Gen X of him.
Totally. And there was this horseshoe theory thing that I think has happened 2 times with this and Hangover Part 3, where when he has to like follow up a movie that was that big. And Hangover 2, he just kind of did Hangover 1.
Just did it again
with a
Thailand.
bigger budget.
Right, exactly.
And everyone critiqued him for that. And he was very defensive of like, it's not the same. It's got different jokes. Hangover 3 feels like a similar fuck you. You want me to not make Hangover 2 again? And it is a movie that is basically like, these guys are bad. These are bad people.
You didn't get it.
This isn't fun. They're actually in pain. The whole movie, the inciting incident, they're sober the entire film. There is no hangover. There is no blackout. It is a movie of them being like asked to account for the crimes that they've committed that were cute in the first 2 movies. It basically has the tone and the aesthetics of Blood Simple. It will go long stretches without anything that's even an attempt of a joke. And the inciting incident of the film is they realize, oh, Zach Galifianakis' character isn't funny. He is mentally ill. We need to institutionalize him.
Wow.
And on the way to, like, they held an intervention and they're driving him to the desert. They're pulled over by John Goodman with a gun. And he's like, fucking Ken Jeong stole all my money and you have to get it back. And they're like, we don't know Ken Jeong. And he's like, really? Because you guys keep on doing fucking movies with him and getting drunk and doing stupid shit. I'm going to fucking murder Justin Bartha unless you get my money back. The movie is so angry and bitter and weird and violent and intense. It does not work.
No.
I didn't know this. I've never seen it.
No one knows this. And it came out and it similarly was hated.
Yes, and didn't do very well. It
But
also cost a lot of money.
On a scale of didn't do well,
It still made its money back.
it made
yeah.
115 million domestic. It made 350 worldwide. I think that's what they assumed the basement was on a Joker collapse. Like, well, but come on, how hard could it actually fail? And it was hated, but in a way where since I think most people had been like, Hangover 2's lazy, we've moved on from this, didn't get the same attention as this. The Hangover fans who went to see it were like, why isn't this funny? And that was sort of the end of the conversation. This is the same thing where, like, you've given Todd Phillips everything. Not only is it his biggest financial hit, but also he won all these awards.
Right.
He was taken
He was
seriously as an auteur.
Taken into the embrace of the sort of arty critical community in a way he hadn't been before.
He's at the fucking round table with Scorsese, you know, who's like, I watched some of it, I get it. And there's the part of him that's still angry that he feels like he still isn't taken seriously enough. But there's the other part of him that's like, if I'm playing with house money, and now everyone's saying, we want you to do your outro thing, he then has to make a movie that hates itself. Because, like, there's a quote, you know, when the first Joker came out and people were like, why don't you make comedies anymore? He's like, well, culture's too woke. You can't get away with comedy anymore. And everyone's like, fucking jerk off motion, right? But there's a more telling quote from that press run-up where he's just like, look, it felt like comedy was changing and studios didn't want to make it and whatever. And I was trying to figure out how to transition to being a different kind of filmmaker, but still do something that felt like it would scare the studios. That his whole thing he gets off on is they're a little worried about him going too far. That's his, like, kink as a filmmaker, is being paid $20 million and feeling like he's being 10% too edgy. And in this case, after Joker working against everyone's expectations, the only way he could do that was basically to make a movie that is boring and self-loathing.
Right. But boring, I think, is to me the true insult.
Why that is the
Joker
greatest
just
crime
do
of this
some
film.
shit in this movie?
Yes.
Why is Joker in jail?
He shot Robert De Niro.
But
Let
he's
him
the
go.
Joker. Let him escape.
Well,
I agree.
I want to
That's the
see
whole-
some funny outfits.
You know what would have been truly funny? If this movie begins with him escaping from Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
And then the rest of the movie is him fighting the Batman.
Do you? Well,
Like the movie is just suddenly like, Joker, someone's after you. Who is it? The Batman. And then it just becomes a Batman Joker movie,
He's
like in a
slapping
really
people with
ordinary
clownfish.
way.
Wait, but isn't Batman like 12?
Yeah, no, I'm saying like
But
the
no,
movie
but I
is just
love
suddenly.
this.
I
Yeah.
know.
Bring that.
Little
He
boy
should
Batman.
be like, become
Instead, this
obsessed
movie-
with this 12-year-old kid
Right.
who he like tries to kill. I don't know.
Marie, I know you didn't watch it in full. Do you two remember how the first Joker ends?
Doesn't
Yeah.
he shoot him in the head?
Well, he kills.
Do you remember what the very end of the movie is?
It's him running through there's some conversation with a psychiatrist in the asylum. Then it's him like running through the halls, having maybe killed the person who was talking to him, but it's kind of ambiguous.
You're right.
Yeah. What are you alluding to?
No, I just remember the triumphant image of him standing on top of the abandoned cop car.
That's
with the
right
riots.
below. That's right,
Right.
before. And
Right.
that's when he puts the blood on his face.
I forgot that he is institutionalized by the end of the first movie.
But the movie does end, the Joker
Yes.
movie,
Yes.
not 2019, does end with Bruce Wayne's parents being killed during this kind of like riot that
a thing
ensues.
I have
Did they ever
heard.
show that?
It's
the
never
other
been
movies?
seen or even
I
really
mean,
spoken
you
of
talk
in
about
our
how edgy
culture.
Todd Phillips was. He was
Yeah.
the first one to say, "What if they rip her pearl necklace off
Fuck.
and they're shot in an alleyway like a dog?" Thomas and Martha Wayne, not very smart.
Joe Chill, not very nice to the Waynes, but the Waynes, should have left Gotham.
They're sending over their worst. They're sending their Joe Chills to Gotham.
Did you see that Jerry Seinfeld went on Tom Papa's podcast and said, I really regret that stuff I said about like the extreme left ruining comedy?
Uh-huh.
And he said something that was really interesting
Okay.
that I really liked.
Okay.
It was so salute Jerry for at
Sure.
least owning that like you were kind of popping off, right? Like
Pop-tarting off, yeah.
Exactly. Where he's like, if Lindsey Vonn is skiing down a hill, and they make the gates like really far apart, she'll hit the gates because that's what she does. Like, it's okay if the gates move around. Like, good comedians will figure out how to be funny.
Every comedian I respect,
Right.
that has been their statement the whole fucking time. When
And
people like
at least he owned up to it.
push Bill Burr and they're like, you must hate comedy getting PC. And he's like, no, if you're challenged by that, then you're a hack.
Then
Yeah.
right, exactly. I mean that right, and that was
If you work hard enough, anything could be funny.
anyway. So Todd Phillips, take a leaf out of Lindsey Vonn and Jerry Seinfeld.
I agree.
Unfrosted, better movie than Joker Folly
I,
2.
I,
Haven't seen it.
I think I have it rated higher.
I do,
I'm still
I do.
waiting for my letterbox ranking. Wait, what was the point I was about to make?
I
There
don't
was
know.
a thing.
The end of Joker you were talking about. Joker 1, to be
Todd
clear.
Phillips, Horseshoe Theory.
Who knows?
Jerry
Fuck this movie.
Seinfeld.
It's a stupid
Fuck
ass
this movie.
dumb
I'm
bullshit
gonna
movie
get
for
back to some fucking
idiots who
point.
suck. Except nobody likes this movie.
Yes, I do
Lex
think
G liked this movie.
Yeah, well.
I do think this movie looks
God
really
bless
good.
him. I think the movie looks fine. Yes, it has
Yeah.
production value.
Yes.
Again, not that many sets.
No, it's wild how much of it is just Arkham Asylum.
Arkham Asylum courtroom, the Sonny and Cher set,
Yeah.
the sort of outdoor set where they do the dancing.
I love conceptually cutting to like inner life musical
But
numbers.
it's not consistent. There's
No,
not
no.
a consistent
and the
device.
the choices of songs are so like basic and
Yeah.
lame. Like all the songs are so dreary. Like
Yeah.
there's no fun in any of the music. Do
Well,
fun musical
The annoying
sequences.
part, I think the one musical number that works, in my opinion, is If They Could See Me Now, beyond just being a song I obviously love and that we've covered Sweet
Right.
Charity, past miniseries. I think that sequence has a little bit of a visual idea of them like running around in the rain after she set the fire and then
Yeah.
being a little free. It works sort of for what it is. His sort of like live on-set audio, it's their voices are scratchy on purpose, whatever thing. The part where the movie totally fails is when it goes into those inner life sequences and you're like, there's a soundstage and they're made up and they're
Right.
playing with like TV variety show aesthetics and
Yeah,
whatever. And then the numbers are like overcut and like lifeless. Like that's where the movie should sort of
And you have
soar.
Lady Gaga.
I do.
and like, she's not even singing to the fullness of her abilities.
no.
I think she's kind of good in this.
She's an
She's-
incredibly talented
I think
performer.
the movie totally sells her out.
Well, because her character is basically just a lecture to the audience of like,
Right.
this is what Joker fans are doing. right? Idolizing
the first
this man.
hour
This is,
I
what,
was
this is what grad students are
Right.
like.
the
Exactly,
first hour I
yes.
was like, is she great
And
in
it is,
this?
to be clear.
And then the like complete dismantling of the character made me so angry.
Yeah, no, it's really annoying that she just, to be clear, she's like, I'm a psychiatrist. At first she's like, I'm Harley Quinn. I'm in here for doing a bad thing. And then it turns out like, no, she's like some sort of a psychiatrist who was kind of faking being in the asylum to get close to him. And she made it all up. And
I've always
But
disliked.
was she actually pregnant?
no,
I don't think so.
no,
But isn't that crazy they didn't follow up on that?
no, he
I mean,
follows up on it. And
does
she's
he?
just like,
On the steps,
On
she's
the
like, I got
steps.
rid of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that scene is
I was a little checked
so
out.
catastrophic.
It's really, at that point, yes, you're really like, end this movie.
Right.
I
Yes.
also
It
was
has like
I
5
didn't even-
endings in a row.
I thought she killed herself in the scene before.
I
and
did too.
So I'm like, well, because she holds a fucking gun up to her head. And then I'm like, is he hallucinating her on the stairs?
Marie,
And then sometimes they'll cut back and then you can't even see her on the stairs. And I'm like, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on.
we had compared different Reddit leaks we had read about
Yeah.
like how the movie ended and that were like in conflict with each other. And then I saw it before you and I was like, the movie ends in a series of sequences that all feel like they could have been the ending, where I fully believe that at different points in time, the movie ended in completely different ways. It does feel like, and everything I've heard about the production of this movie, and this is a big reason why it costs so much fucking money when people ask, how is that possible? Is that they had this massive set and a lot of background actors. They had 2 massive sets they built,
Yes,
right?
The courthouse.
A lot of
and the
background
subway.
actors.
Right.
And that this movie, for a pretty talky, fucking grounded thing, was sort of made the way the Christopher McQuarrie Mission Impossible movies were made, where they just get to set every day and every actor was on hold every day. And they'd be like, what do we want to do? And they just threw a bunch of shit at the wall. I think this movie was kind of made choose your own adventure style, which is why it feels like it has conflicting ideas in it, because they were like, I don't know, we'll find it. You know, I think they had a script going into it, but we're throwing a lot of shit at the wall. And it does feel like the movie includes both the ending that was intended to be her suicide and the scene where she comes in and explains why, in a perfect bow, she's over him. Like,
And
it
then, of
includes
course-
like branching timeline things.
Then, of course, we get this wonderful epilogue where he gets killed by a random inmate who then like sits down and carves a smile into his face,
Heath Ledger style.
imitating sort of the Heath Ledger.
Which it has
character.
come out that that was part of Phillips' pitch, that he wanted to be the ending of the first movie when Joker's in Arkham Asylum. And that was the one thing where Warner Brothers was like, that is one step too far.
You cannot do that because Christopher Nolan is still a beloved member of our stable and we don't want to make him mad by like messing with the legacy of that series.
And,
Wow.
and also, like, maybe
How times have changed.
just don't fucking touch Ledger at all. Maybe that's too loaded in every
Now,
direction.
to me, the movie's only kind of touching it in the Glasgow
Yeah.
smile thing is the
It
only
wasn't as
thing.
explicit
Right,
as
it's not like he
Reddit
comes
had
out
led
with the
me to
green
believe.
but the
dyed
guy's
hair
doing
and-
a little bit more of a Ledger impression than I would have expected.
I was
I just think
I
he's
was
doing the-
profoundly disinterested by
Yeah,
what
I
was
don't
being
care.
shown to
Just
me
ma-
in
he's
that
laughing.
moment. I
Yeah.
just did not like it at all.
I was a little in the Hangover Part 3, like, I'm fascinated by what this movie is trying to do at war with itself. Setup of what I thought was a reasonably good spine at setup that the movie completely botches, which is, and I think the way that the first Joker movie deals with fucking mental illness is really condescending and
It's
exploitive.
quite
Mhm.
simplistic.
Right.
Yes.
I like hate it. And I hated that the movie did this sort of back patty victory lap of like, no, this is like a somber like call to attention for the people that society neglects. And I'm like, this is a movie that gawks over how weird his body looks.
Yes.
For 90,
definitely.
it's mostly just look
It's
at how
kind of a
weird this
freak
fucking
show
guy is.
thing. Right.
Right.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lack of discipline that plays against that being the stated intent of the movie that I really think was a added on later award season narrative. This movie, I think, is a little more engaged in him actually being a mentally ill person. I agree with you that I think like the Arthur performance kind of works, and once he becomes Joker again, it's a disaster. There's something I kind of like about him being totally catatonic and dead inside at the beginning of the film, although it does go on very
it's also
fucking
just
long.
not that fun to watch.
No, it's not. The one idea the movie has that I think is a little interesting that it doesn't know how to follow through on, and it's what the cartoon sets up, is here's this guy whose entire complex is he's ignored in life. He wants to entertain. He wants to connect to people. He can't do it. He has finally now become this like weird, beloved celebrity. Even as a controversial figure, he's got attention and there's like discourse around him. And he feels completely disassociated from it because it's basically a persona and not him. And the movie trying to litigate, like, is Joker a different character than he is? Is that an outpouring of his trauma? Was that a performance? What is it? And like at the beginning, I was like, fuck, am I going to like this movie? And then increasingly, scene by scene, it was losing me because it just doesn't have a clarity of vision to be able to actually like follow that through to any satisfying endpoint. That's what I want to say about the film. I think, yeah. I think If You Could See Me Now number is good. I think when he sings in the interview with Steve Coogan, that kind of works. But once again, like the only numbers that kind of work for me are the ones that are not really musical numbers.
Like the Coogan scene, and Coogan looking hot.
He's looking good.
I mean, as he always is. But is like just the perfect. Steve who is like, but you're Joker from the film Joker, and you did this stuff in Joker. What do you make of that? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm just like, can something happen, please? Anything. Just action. Action.
Oh, that was the one other thing I was going to say in defense of Gaga.
I don't need her. She doesn't need defense.
We
She's
have nothing
great.
against her.
She's doing great.
We blame Todd Phillips for not utilizing her proper.
Final thing I want to say about the movie. Harley Quinn, as we said, created as like a fun a cartoon character.
Yes.
Right? Added to the comics later.
Becomes an incredibly popular character.
Totally. Has become humongous. But there is this thing of like a character who was originally created as just like the Joker's mall. What if he had like a sassy
female sidekick who's in love with him, but it's this sort of dark, abusive, like
exactly.
dynamic.
So over time, the dynamic deepens and writers have tried to approach it in a sensitive way, and some have done it much better than others. But there's this whole idea of it being, this abusive relationship. And at times it's like, did Joker like fucking brainwash her, I think some of the depictions of Harley Quinn are like weirdly depriving her of any agency by making her someone who just got like Joker-fied and now is stuck, like cursed to a life of being Lady Joker, even as they've tried to make her own character away from him. The narrative is always, well, the Joker fucked her up and now she's her own thing, right? I kind of was into, at the beginning of this movie, the setup of like, no, she's someone who like sees him, quote unquote, that she's like insane, that it's not like he fucking gaslit his therapist and tricked her and threw her in a bad,
it reverses
ways.
The narrative where he's like the submissive to her.
And in that dynamic, Gaga is incredibly good casting. And I thought she was really electric. And then as the movie unwinds and is like, no, she's just like some fucking like fangirl who's also like abusive and superficial to him, it bummed me out hardcore. There is a Ketchup Entertainment release that will have just come out in some capacity.
It's getting a fairly wide release. I believe. Yes.
I know a lot of our international listeners are frustrated by this being part of the episode because the movie does not have as strong an international rollout outside of North America. I do believe it's going straight to Netflix in a number of countries.
Makes sense. It's going straight to plane, I would imagine. This movie should go straight to plane.
If I saw this on a plane, I'd be like, I would just fucking sob.
Let's just make this the headline. Goodrich is maybe the most effective plane movie of the year. If you put this on a plane, you are going to have zero regrets. And I don't mean this as a backhanded compliment. Look, as the flip side of Joker, we all sat there and were like, this movie is kind of doing what it promises to do. Right?
By and large, yes.
It is not a great film.
No.
I think it's a huge step up from Home Again.
Even though I wasn't on for that episode, I really like that movie.
I really like Home Again as an
object of
work.
fascination.
Exactly.
The term you threw out.
Gas leak cinema.
Gas leak cinema.
Where you're just like, is there something wrong? Like,
yes.
Why are people talking this way? Like, is there a gas leak?
Goodrich is
Goodrich is Hallie Myers-Shire's second film.
Yes.
A 1 hour and 50-minute dramedy about an art dealer whose second wife, his younger wife, leaves him out of nowhere for a rehab program.
And he didn't even know.
He didn't even know she had a drug problem.
This guy's
he didn't know what kind of problem she had.
He's checked out. He's a workaholic. And so now he has to raise his 2 9-year-old twins and try to continue to forge a relationship with his elder daughter, who is a grown woman who's pregnant herself. Mila Kunis plays her. Michael Keaton plays Andy Goodrich.
Yeah.
The titular Goodrich.
My guy, Michael Keaton.
Absolutely. What about Andy Goodrich?
I kind of like Andy Goodrich. I mean, you were sitting there at the end of the movie. I turned to you. You have tears in your eyes. Big tough guy, big strong guy, David Sims. Tears in his eyes, comes up to me and says, representation really matters, and it's good to see it on screen.
Twin dad cinema. I feel like we all kind of teared up during this movie.
Got me a couple
moments kind of got me.
I mean, it's about a dad learning to be a dad.
Yeah.
After years of already being a dad.
Look, all 4 of us have had very different relationships with our fathers, but they're all loaded in different directions.
Sure.
Dad movies are a pretty effective way to poke buttons.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people.
I think most of the sentiment this movie succeeds in wringing out does not feel super manipulative.
No.
This movie is not manipulative. My problem with Goodrich, if I have one, which is, like we just described the premise of the movie to you, you can basically guess the arcs of Goodrich.
Yeah.
Like if I tell you, like, yeah, his second wife leaves him, he's stuck with his kids, and his older daughter is pregnant. You're like, okay, I imagine he like learned some lessons about being a dad, and he, and ends up with his older daughter having a kid, and they kind of make a breakthrough too. And
in a very
Goodrich.
Nancy Meyers way, it has like 4 additional subplots that take up a weird amount of time
And you're like,
and a
but
bunch
I
of
can
supporting
see how
characters.
these sort of come together. But yes.
I was expecting it to much more just be those 2 threads
right.
running in balance. And there are long stretches where like neither Kunis nor the kids are really part of it.
100%.
Yeah.
There are 2, I would say, semi-major B plots. One is Goodrich pursuing the estate of a dead sort of artist who like only became famous late in life.
Well,
a black female artist.
Because
by,
his gallery is not
the Goodrich
doing well.
Gallery is
they're
failing.
behind. They're behind on
Goodrich
rent.
Gallery. We're
And
losing our galleries. They're taking
Kevin
them
Pollak
away.
shows up for maybe like 8 minutes of total screen
Forgetting
time.
Goodrich. It feels more like Badrich these days.
Good poor. But Carmen Ejogo plays the daughter of this artist so he's kind of pursuing her, not romantically, more as like
Although I will
there's a romantic
say,
edge.
I felt sexual tension between Michael Keaton and every single character in this movie, including his daughter.
Including 100% Mila Kunis.
Yes.
In ways that I think maybe there could have been a little bit of intervention in the direction.
I agree.
And maybe he doesn't need to call her babe.
This movie
Oh my God, he said babe. And then the big emotional...
The final line, which let's not spoil, but there's a final...
Well, no, I mean,
we're going to spoil
We're going to spoil
Spoilers
the
for
movie.
Goodrich.
Spoilers for Goodrich.
You know what? You know what? I'm with Griffin.
Here's why. Because I think
his final line to his
devoting
daughter.
half an episode to this is maybe going to constitute 50% of the entire marketing push for this movie.
Right.
People might actually go see this because of this episode.
You're right.
versus
You're right.
He uses
and we
watching
do
it in
think
advance.
people should see this movie. We liked this movie.
And here's another, like the type of movie we bemoan a lot doesn't really happen anymore, right? Like a lot of, like this is, in a certain way, this feels like Hallie taking a step away into her own identity, not just doing weird, like Child of Nancy movie, but also it's like, it's getting a little into like Cameron Crowe.
Yeah.
It was very James L. Brooks.
James L.
Cameron
Brooks.
Crowe.
Like all these sort of like
I
middlebrow,
the trailer
high-level
sells
adult
it
dramedy movie star movies
as
that
like
we love.
a two-hander between Mila Kunis and Michael Keaton. And I think going into this, if you know who the director is, I assumed that we're going to be identifying with
Mila
Kunis's character, and it's going to be focused on her and her relationship to her father. But I was most struck by how much the film puts you in Michael Keaton's perspective.
It is a Goodrich movie.
And it is a Goodrich
Andy
movie.
Goodrich.
And I think that really is like cool that she's able to,
I agree. I think if anything, a
get
weird
into this
failing of the
guy's
movie is
psyche.
that the Mila Kunis character is underwritten.
I agree.
I think she's a little miscast. I can't decide who would be the right person.
I think she's a little old.
The role is underwritten, so I'm not sure anyone's going to be
Dakota
amazing in it.
Johnson.
Oh, putting her in a movie. What a bold and interesting decision that would be.
Hey,
good Dakota Johnson impression, by the way, just saying that.
did I tell you
hey.
guys I'm being
Good-
Madam Web for Halloween?
Marie!
So you're gonna talk like this the entire time?
I bought
Oh my God, trick or treat.
I bought a really good wig with
Smell
bangs.
my feet. Give me something good to eat.
I've got a can
I
of
don't
Pepsi.
know what's happening right now.
My
Ellen,
web
Ellen, that's
apparently
not true.
connects them all.
I ordered a red faux leather blazer. I've got sunglasses because I'm her after she's become Madam Web.
Do you guys know that
the
I've now
last 30 seconds
Yes.
of the movie?
Yes.
You're dressing up as the end credits?
Yes.
Do you guys know that I've now seen Madam Web 4
I'm going to be
times?
the villain of Madam Web.
David's doing an impression of the villain of Madam Web.
We have to stop Madam Web.
All the
I keep
ADR.
seeing
He's
visions
moving
of her.
his mouth more than he's saying words. I just want to repeat, I have watched Madam Web 4 times.
You know what? I want to get a temperature check here. Madam Web better than Joker fully a Jew.
Undeniably.
Undeniably.
Undeniably. I've really hovered over the
I had a-
purchase button on the Madam
I
Web
had a-
Steelbook.
I had a great time.
Madam Web
watching
is like a
Madam Web.
wrong object that gives me joy.
Yeah.
That I'm happy
Fun-
while
fun
watching
movie.
it.
I have Madame Web over Tarot and Joker Folly Ado in my
Great.
list this
Okay,
year.
Ben, have you seen Madam Web?
I have.
No offense to
And?
Tarot.
I loved it.
Yeah,
It's great.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes. Let's get back.
I'll tell you who doesn't love Madame Web. My new character, the villain from Madame Web. I hate her.
David.
I can't remember the name. Ezekiel Sims?
Fuck.
Yeah, that's right. Were you trying to set that
I
up?
completely forgot that.
I was going to say I will write you a check for $500 if you can pull the name, and I'm so
Well,
glad you answered before
I
I
only
said that.
remember that it was Sims.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
But
Okay.
it is Ezekiel Sims.
It is.
Right?
You nailed it. Yeah.
My name, of course, is Ezekiel Sims. Just one of those things where they're like, can we have fucking the Scarlet Spider? No. Can we have, I don't know, Hydroman? Nah, you can't. You can have Ezekiel Sims. Who the hell is that? I don't know. I just pulled him out of this big folder. He's who you get for Madame Web. Anyway, Goodrich.
Goodrich.
I have no idea if this is true, but isn't this movie surely about Charles Shire a little bit?
That's what we assumed.
I think it has to be.
Because Charles Shire, the father of Hallie Myers Shire,
Mhm.
left Nancy Myers
Yes.
many years ago.
Yes.
After being married to her for I think almost 20 years.
Yes.
Married someone else.
Work partnership, much like in this movie. It's like they work in the same field. They work together. They split off. She's now more
And
successful
she
than
became
he
more
is.
successful than he was
Yes.
more successful in the 80s and 90s. She
Yes.
becomes more successful in the 2000s.
And the whole movie is
And
sort of
he
like
drops off.
Your thing went out of style.
100%.
Which Charles Shire now hasn't made a movie in over 10
Correct. And Charles Shire.
years? 20 years?
He
Is
has
Alfie his final film?
Yeah, so 20 years ago.
Yeah, wild.
And Charles Shire, married someone else after Nancy Myers. That marriage ended in divorce. He has more kids than Hallie.
Yes.
So I don't know, if he had kids with his later
I
wife.
want to say I think Hallie now is married with a child.
It just feels like her
I don't
processing her dad.
Seeing anything about him getting remarried?
No, but he has a marriage after
Yes.
Nancy. He was married to a woman called Deborah Lynn from 2004
Much like
to
in Goodrich,
2009.
right?
Okay,
It has
okay.
also ended. But
Yeah, it
I
ended
think
many
he
years
had at least a child in that second marriage.
He
I
has
believe.
4 children total, and Nancy only had 2. So again,
Right.
it's
Yes.
just, you could imagine at least a leaping off point being maybe something like this happened in her family.
When I read
and
the
she had a
announcement,
moment with
which,
her
by
dad
the way,
like
this movie was announced in 2019.
Yes, it's been sort of bubbling for a while.
Back when I was much more engaged with trying to be a professional actor.
Oh, I
this
think
was
his kids are twins too, a boy and a
yeah,
girl.
yeah. I mean, yes. This was like an immediate, I emailed all of my reps and was like, I will do anything to be in this movie, both because of my, Myers Shire family obsession, but also just like fucking Michael Keaton. Marie did an audition tape with me for
I
this
did.
movie.
Yes.
Marie.
I remember.
You're
You're probably auditioning for who? The Nico Hiraga character? It's one of the gallery assistants or something. You could have
No.
been the husband.
No.
No.
You're close. I want to see if you can pin it.
Okay, so Michael Urie's character?
No.
No, 'cause he's really, by the way,
Really
good.
good.
at this.
He's
I mean,
great.
he's a great actor. I love
Yeah,
Michael
but he's
Urie.
really good.
That was my favorite of the B plot.
So,
Agreed.
okay, so not Nico Hiraga, who plays the sweet
It's
gallery.
basically
I thought
one
he was.
scene.
I thought
Not-
that guy was really cute. I
Not
haven't
Danny,
seen him
not
in
Danny
anything.
DeFerrari, who I'm just going to say this, and I do not mean this as a joke. I spent the entire movie being like, is this like Josh Radnor with a sort of a spray
Oh my
tan
god!
or
I
something?
thought it was Josh Radnor the whole movie.
looked
I didn't
like
know it
Josh
wasn't
Radnor.
Josh
He's the
Radnor.
husband?
Yeah, the husband.
Yeah.
But I would look at him and
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I know what Josh Radnor looks
Yeah.
like, and it's not quite this.
Yes.
But it's close.
It was uncanny.
So is Josh Radnor changed? But then I just saw Josh Radnor off Broadway in I already forgot the name of that play where
Andy
he did so
McDowell's
many
husband.
monologues.
No, it's like the,
Hello, love to do Christmas in New York. I'll be see you later. That fucking guy.
what is like the obvious one scene kind of functional
one
character
scene.
part that
The accountant guy
Yeah.
who's
Yes.
I'm looking at the numbers and they just say
Yes.
down.
Yes.
Something to
And
get
we
the,
want them
the
to
water
say
running
up.
again. Yes.
Who's that actor? I like that
I
actor.
always forget his name. He played the son on Barry, Henry Winkler's son.
Yeah, and he was in something else.
He's in
now.
a bunch of stuff.
I'm gonna find
Um,
him. I'm gonna find him.
But the second that scene started, Marie tapped me and was like, "Hey, remember we did this?" Anyway, I've been tracking this movie for a long time.
So you did this. That was this. Those are the lines.
Yeah, we're very familiar with that scene.
Yes. This movie got delayed because of pandemics and strikes and whatever, but yes, has long been in the works. And Keaton is obviously my favorite living actor in the lead up to Beetlejuice, and also because I was kindly asked to do a Keaton episode for The Big Picture, I started a project of like, let me see if I can go through the whole fucking Keaton filmography and fill in the blind spots and rewatch the things I haven't seen since I was a child. I think there are only 5 or 6 of his movies I haven't seen now. All are in the back half, mostly in the doldrums between 2000 and 2014.
Right, his true like white noise era.
Like movies that only
Michael
got
Keaton.
released in Europe, like Quicksand with Michael Caine and The Last Time with Brendan Fraser, where you're like, what the fuck is this? There's a soccer movie with Robert Duvall. Like, these are sort of the only ones I haven't seen.
Andrew Leeds.
We found this
is
at
the
the
name
same
of the
time.
actor.
He's very good. I like him in general. I'm intensely jealous that he got to do the scene with Michael Keaton.
This motherfucker.
Yeah, hey, he earned it. But
You earned it, Andrew. Yeah, good job, Andrew.
I was trying to do this project chronologically. So really sort of charting the development and the arc of the Keaton movie star career, because his arc is really weird. And in a lot of ways, it's characterized by this narrative of like, he fucked it up at different times. He like had the juice and then would blow it. He would wrong foot it.
He was on Christella. He was the will they, won't they in Christella.
David.
Because Christella gets the job at the sort of white shoe law firm. And he's the kind of goody two shoes there, and they have a will they, won't they thing. And that show was underrated, and I watched every single
Christella.
episode. Yes, that's who he is.
Bring
Fuck.
back Christella.
10 years ago now. Anyway, Michael Keaton's career.
Yeah. The last 10 years, we talked about this in the Beetlejuice episode, but it feels like after his Birdman year and then certainly Spotlight the year after that, it feels like he is like fully minted now as like, the guy's never going to be ignored again. He's like icon status for the rest of his life. He's made bad movies in the last 10 years. He's had hits, he's had flops, but it feels like he's not in danger of like falling into the wilderness again.
There's a Michael Keaton movie every single year.
In the way he was in the mid 80s and the 90s and the mid 2000s. Like he's had these real dark periods.
Although his only film in 2022 was his scintillating cameo in the film Morbius, where he shows up and is like, I feel like Spider-Man has something to do with this. And Morbius is like, don't know who that is, but it was nice to see you.
I
Roll
believe
credits.
his line is, I hope the food's better in this joint.
But isn't he in the Tom Holland? Isn't he the Vulture?
Yes.
He's the Vulture, and Morbius has this post-credit scene where they clearly were like, we were hoping we could get like, someone better. And they're like, you can have Michael Keaton show up
but
for no
he's
reason.
as the Vulture.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
In the end credits of Vulture, which they've set up takes place in a
Morbius.
different... I'm sorry.
Morbius.
Of Morbius, which they've set up take place in a different reality than the MCU, because there is a weird, like, characters can't intercept. Like, Venom can't, whatever. At the end of Morbius in the end credits, and Michael Keaton was in the trailers and the marketing.
He was.
He is only in the end credits of the movie in 2 different end credit scenes. They pan over to an empty jail cell, and then there is like a 60s Star Trek original series style effect of him basically phasing into the empty jail cell. He turns to the camera and goes, hope the food's better in this joint. And then it cuts to like ADR newscaster being like, in a very bizarre occurrence, a prisoner from an alternate dimension has magically appeared in an empty jail cell. More on this story as it develops. And you're like, what the fuck is that? 5 more minutes of Morbius credits. And then there's a scene in which a Morbius, Dr. Michael Morbius,
He's just like standing on a
the
hill.
living vampire, is driving like a fucking Ferrari, like speeding through the desert. He parks in the middle of nowhere. Then a fully CGI Michael Keaton in full getup with helmet
with
on,
the Vulture shit.
not on set, flies down and in like ADR recorded on like a fucking lunch break, if not a shit break, says, I gotta talk to you about this Spider-Man fella.
I think he actually was like sleep talking.
Yes.
Like he wasn't even awake.
Should I see Morbius?
No, Morbius is what Morbius wishes it was Madam Web.
Okay.
Morbius does not have
Morbius
the
is
ghastly
straight
That's
quality.
what I wanted to know. Is
Yes.
it Madam Web level?
Not
Okay.
really.
Okay.
Morbius is pretty just
I basically
blandly
just said
bad.
all the funniest things to
Okay.
Morbius.
I mean, Matt Smith is doing his best to have life in that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not good.
Another movie where like weird ADR, like what was this scene supposed to be? Yeah. Characters like outfits changing mid-scene.
And it's also Morbius being like, I have superpowers, and then he does nothing with it.
Right.
Like it's not like he does good or bad. He kind
No.
of just doesn't do anything.
One scene he pretends to be Venom.
His whole thing is he's just got a medical issue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It doesn't matter.
He's kind of got a magical cancer.
And then
And he comes up with a
gets
cure that turns him into the living
vampire
vampire.
And he flies through the New York City subway, London Underground, like at one point.
Yeah, it's a movie for losers. But what I was going to say is it's been so satisfying to see this Michael Keaton come back and be like, the guy is fully embraced now, and he's allowed to do a full range of things, including paycheck cameos in the end credits of
But also
Morbius.
comedies and dramas and, I mean.
And we talked about this after we left the movie
This
yesterday.
is what I'm setting up.
Because it's fun to see him do Beetlejuice again, to revisit a character that, was big for him in the 80s.
And he did that with Batman in the Flash last year, a movie that sucks, but he's very locked in.
And
great in that movie.
Goodrich is his revisiting of Mr. Mom.
This is my contention.
Which I watched last night. My mom always loved that movie, and I watched it as a kid, but I had not seen it as an adult. It is very much a time capsule, but he is so charming in it.
He is on fire in that fucking movie, and you get why this guy just like exploded instantly. Where you're like, this is a completely unique one-of-one comedy leading man.
And it's so. I'm trying to think of other movies that fit this, that are like an actor makes a movie like 40 years later that is kind of like an unintentional.
This is like a spiritual like a sequel.
Yes. It's a fun thing to think about.
Which I also think is like reflecting on like a weird cultural phenomenon that is more unique to now than the time in which Mr. Mom was made, which like Michael Keaton always talks about, like, yeah, like Mr. Mom might seem kind of creaky now, but at the time it was made, that was a thing that like people weren't talking about.
100%.
And it was like mocked, the idea of a man being like a stay-at-home father. And I thought we tried to do it with like a certain amount of credibility.
Man learning to like have a relationship with his kids.
Yes.
A different
take care of a home.
But like have more of a sort of Mr. Mom relationship. And like, as someone has kids, older generations are always like, it's crazy that you get all this leave and you spend all this time with them. Like when you were born, like your dad went back to work wwithin a week, right? Like that's just how we did it back then. And you're like, what the fuck? But so just one generation. I do think there's
this modern phenomenon though of like, the generation that refuses to retire or slow down, right? Who are still, let's say, dyeing their hair brown.
We're talking about Goodrich at this point. Yeah.
And going
He's
to
got
work.
gray hair.
Right. And they treated their first kids that way.
Yeah.
He has dyed hair in this.
Does he?
Which I thought was a choice that I think fits the character.
Yeah,
this guy would want to dye his fucking hair. Because Batman, he's gray. He's mostly gray now.
But in Goodrich, he's playing this guy who's trying to, still be like tip of the spear of the art world and going to shows every night and all that.
At like 70-something, this guy would be sort of able to like shake out of his like slumber briefly enough to be like, I guess I should be a modern father. I guess I should pay attention to how other dads are doing it. Like, it's not a thing that people are mocking as like, this is weird. Why are you taking your kids to school?
No.
It's him sort of realizing like, I should have been doing this the whole time. And the Michael Urie thing, which is so good.
Was so nice,
the best scene in the movie is the scene with Michael Urie, the first scene.
Outside the school.
So like it's like Goodrich, oh no, he forgot his kids exist or whatever, and he's late to school. Then he gets to school, and it's some fancy ass LA school where there's a check-in desk, and the lady's like, "You're tardy, so I'm gonna have to mark you tardy." And he says my favorite line in the movie, where he's like, "Nah, we're just kind of like good old fashioned late. Like there's not a reason.
Yeah,
we're 7 minutes late. We're late. Like who cares? Like let him go to school, right?" And then Michael Urie shows up later than him and is waved in, and the kids are like, "Hey, his son is epileptic, so they take it easy on him." And Kane's like, "Oh, okay." And then he goes outside and he talks to Michael Urie. And like you said, there's not the loaded thing of him being
tell me, what's your secret? Which Griffin literally said to me.
I said, what's the over-under?
$1 million. He says, what's your secret?
Right.
Which doesn't happen.
And him like kind of fetishizing like, wow, so you're a dad who like is really connected to his kid. What's going on there? No, instead they just have a heart-to-heart that kind of can happen when you're a parent dropping off a kid, where it's a lot of vulnerability and you're all kind of in this same boat together. Even though these are very different people, right?
It's also a nice update of a story beat in Mr. Mom, which also involves dropping kids off at school.
With the moms,
and
though.
him being complete, like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. And it's played for laughs.
Yes.
But then he eventually learns the ropes, but from other moms.
Yes.
And he's the only man in this environment.
Also,
Here,
this whole
he's with
thread
another
with Mr. Mom is that he's like fetishized by the moms by being like
a
it's
space
so
alien.
hot that he does
Of
this.
course,
All the single moms want to fuck him. And in this, it's like this very touching, tender, like Michael Urie, who's still wounded from his like...
Michael Urie, a lovely actor. And he's like immediately starts spilling his guts. His kid has, medical issues, but we're doing great and we have a great doctor. Marie has to go.
Marie, do you want to put any final thoughts on Goodrich on the record?
No, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think it's cool that Mila Kunis is an entertainment writer.
Senior
entertainment writer.
Writing profiles.
And I also want to make sure that we talk about the fact that Joker 2 and Goodrich.
We'll say it.
We'll talk about that.
Okay, good.
I
you
promise
have to say it.
It won't
you
be.
have to
We'll
say
talk
it.
about
Okay.
that.
Marie is going to her day job as a Arkham Asylum guard.
Yes.
God, we didn't even talk about Gleason. Fucking phone that shit in.
Yeah, we're not. I think it's better that we don't talk about it. We don't have anything to add to that conversation.
There's a scene that the three of us interpreted differently than a lot of people seem to, but also it doesn't feel like there's anything good
people made
to be gained out of talking about it in either direction.
Bye, Marie. Love you.
Bye, Marie. You're the best. Hey, Marie. Happy 500. Happy 500, guys.
Okay,
now we can talk honestly. We all love Joker, right?
Oh, so good for the boys.
It's a movie for boys.
That's a movie about being a man.
These dames don't get it.
I should have that take. Become like a culture where like the best representation of masculinity I've ever seen.
Joker gets it. It's a movie about how men are being crushed in our society.
By women with makeup on, clown makeup.
Stealing our seed and painting our faces. Joker Folly.
And don't get me started on these sympathetic attorney women. I hate them. Anyway, the scene with Michael Urie. Michael Urie's like, yeah, so my kid, this is tough, but we're doing okay. And then he starts talking about like, my kid's dad left. He couldn't handle it. Like he's explaining something kind of private. Yeah. And so Goodrich could just be like, I'm sorry to hear that, man. But instead he opens up too, right? He's like, yeah, look, I'm going through something too. My wife, she apparently had a drug problem. I didn't even know it. And he says, he's like, isn't that crazy? And then he says like, I mean, it reflects poorly on me. Like he doesn't just say it in a kind of like, can you believe my wife did this? He's saying, like, how did I not know?
I think the thing this movie's getting at that feels...
And then they kind of bond. And then they make out at one point in a scene that I was really worried was going to happen. Did happen. And then I was actually kind of happy with how it was executed.
They kind of executed perfectly.
Mostly because I think the way Goodrich reacts is like, he's like, dude, my life is literally too insane for this to really be a blip right now. Anyway. But
also is a weird mirror of the Mr. Mom aggressive seduction from all the single moms. I think this movie is tapping into, which is kind of interesting. And it's connected to this like guy who only has a second phase, second group of kids, second marriage, late in life, new father can like wake up to is like a kind of guy like this, like boomer who basically has been allowed to float for decades, has just sort of been like propped up by society, where like this guy's waking up and he's like, wow, I guess this is insane that I have not paid attention to anything. That I've just kind of had like, I've been on a conveyor belt my whole life and had a very comfortable existence. You know, when people go and they leave and they come and whatever.
And the problem with this movie is you're kind of, is the classic problem with these LA movies where you're like, how much do I have to care about this fucking rich guy, like who has a nice house and he's like, I don't have any money. And I'm like, you have like 18 gallery paintings in your, like sell one of those, right? You get a cool 50 grand. I don't know. Like there's a scene where he gets mad at his twins for flying a drone indoors and like knocking over a Ming vase. That I was like, can we take one more pass at this just to tone this down a little bit?
There's gas leak stuff like that. Right. And there's gas leak stuff like there are scenes where you're just like, that is an insane way for a person to enter a room speaking. Where you're like, like who comes in and defines themselves in one sentence
explaining
like this?
A little much, right? Just
There's sloppiness to it, but there are like scenes that are really effective. And I also think in doing this full sort of like Keaton cataloging, which by the way is why I watched her be fully loaded and logged it on Letterboxd.
No other
not
reason.
To disappoint anybody.
Yes, like for real, there is no other reason.
Yes, that Keaton has talked about. He has this like shot out of a cannon. He's a stand-up. He's like part of the fucking Mary Tyler Moore variety show. He's doing like sitcom guest spots. Then he gets this like movie star making role in Night Shift. He's the second banana. It's the part that allows him to just be the color and go wild. And the movie's a modest hit, but people immediately are like, fuck, Michael Keaton. He's hosting SNL. Mr. Mom, he's getting offered leading roles in scripts. He does Mr. Mom. Mr. Mom's a big ass hit.
Yep, big hit. Big cultural movie.
Yes. And then I think right after Mr. Mom, he does Johnny Dangerously, which is his first big flop, is a movie that rules. And
Then he does Gung Ho and she's having a baby.
So he has talked about that he had made these 3 movies in a row, and it felt like the Michael Keaton type had been established, which is what he calls the like cocky, glib young man. Right. This sort
you
of
talked
like
about this on The Big Picture.
wheeler dealer, fast talking, thinking out loud, the sort of like manic hand gestures and facial expressions, the swagger, you know, the sort of like confident clumsiness kind of thing. And he was like, I have to break out of this now or I'm going to be stuck in this forever. And this is when he starts like fucking up his career for the first time because he was so intentional about like, I need to. He failed to do what Tom Hanks did successfully, which is how do I expand this? And then like Beetlejuice and Batman are these comeback movies that feel like they've redefined him in a new way. And then he still doesn't totally know what to do with it. This is like the first time he's kind of done glib young man comedy character, like the classic Michael Keaton archetype. I'd say The Other Guys is doing a version of this, but this is really kind of like a flavor of Keaton that hasn't existed since the 90s. And especially because this movie's a little more Brooksy, Cameron-y, I was ready for him to be in much more dramedy mode. And I was so excited to watch, like, as you said, his reaction to the Michael Urie scene where he's just like, well, no, I mean, you know, I think I got to tell, honestly, you know, do I seem good? I'm not a fan. Right. That stuff is just fucking catnip to me. And to see this sort of like, this was the final piece of the Michael Keaton comeback legend status era we're in right now, is him reclaiming this side of his personality.
Now, this isn't a film that will, I think, be little seen on film in cinemas. It'll probably be, it's a movie to watch on TV.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that pejoratively. I'm just saying like that's the sort of role these kinds of movies occupy
very
now.
well on streaming.
100%. And that's fine. And my mom asked me how the movie was, and I was like, you're going to watch it on Netflix and you're going to like it.
This is what I've been saying to everyone. Like, it undeniably is effective at what it does. It's incredibly watchable.
I think it's 15 minutes too long.
I agree.
And I think that is the kind of classic Nancy Meyers problem of just like you say, just like, do we need this thread too? We kind of got it already.
I think it also specifically does not know how to successfully juggle time management and focus of its threads.
I think so too. Like in that you're like, haven't heard from Mila Kunis in a while.
Right. Like and that's sort of like high level invisible filmmaking shit that is hard to like credit why it's working when it works. You take it for granted, but when it doesn't work, you feel it.
But this movie has a straightforward story that basically follows in a way that Home Again doesn't totally. Home Again, you're like, this character is making odd decisions. And I'm kind of here for it because it's demented, but it's not very logical.
No, I like that it's also not a like guy solves his life movie. Like
that's what I really like about it.
Right. Because you're saying the like uncompelling rich people problem shit. I'm like, the movie I was surprised this was closer to than I expected is Gore Verbinski's The Weatherman, a movie I love that is
you
like,
stick up for?
Yes. A movie about a guy having a similar kind of like my life's a mess crisis, but is mostly him coming to terms with like, I am deeply mediocre. He keeps trying to get his life together. And it's a movie about a guy being like, oh, I'm not a great man.
Goodrich, I feel like it's more like he's over the hill.
It's not quite that.
Right.
Yeah.
He's over the hill. He's an art dealer. And, you know, you kind of have to traffic and cool, right? And like being with it. And he, you know, he's
being able to talk the talk.
He's an old guy
level
now.
Sort of finesse.
And everyone's telling him like, hey man, we moved into this neighborhood 40 years ago. It was cool. Now it's expensive and bougie. We can't really afford it anymore. And there's this thread of like, will he get this sort of big estate sale and that'll save the gallery?
And learn how to be a father and learn how to save his marriage and be there for Mila Kunis and make up for the lost time.
And he does, it's like 2 out of 4. He absolutely learns how to be a better father. He's mostly learned how to be a little better of a sort of, you know, friend and father to Mila Kunis. He doesn't save the gallery. He almost gets it, but Carmen Ejogo, you know, you can see it coming because she comes in too early.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, this isn't going to work out. And instead, he has to sort of say goodbye to his career because he's getting old and like it's not going to work for him anymore. And he doesn't save his marriage, which is not surprising because that character is not seen in the movie until right at the end.
The other scene I really like is the scene with him and Mila Kunis at the gallery after the goodbye party.
That's a good scene.
And here's the thing I want to
an emotionally
call out.
Intelligent
and this
scene.
isn't even like a faint praise award thing. I complain so much about the fucking cinematic language of comedies these days, especially because we get so few of them. and especially talking about how fucking unimaginative the musical numbers in Joker are, how you feel a lack of confidence in Todd Phillips and how to cover those, how to shoot them, how to edit them. This is a movie that like has many sequences that play out in sustained 2 shots where actors are controlling the rhythm, especially for an actor like Michael Keaton, who in this mode, you kind of want to film like he's Gene Kelly. Like Michael Keaton is an actor where he's a full body comedian. His rhythms are so weird. The energy he gets with another actor, if you're shooting that in kind of like sitcom coverage, it plays against the magic of what he's delivering. And like that Mila Kunis scene largely plays out in like a wide 2-shot.
Yep.
A lot of this movie doesn't have this kind of fucking sitcom coverage that I hate, which by the way is also like detrimental to movies that are made on more limited budgets like this because studios aren't supporting. Nancy could get away with doing a film like this because she has 4 days for every scene or whatever. And these movies, you're like, they're probably shooting 4 scenes a day. It is actually just smart. I think this movie looks good. It has actual choices about like color and lighting and
there's some
focus.
blocking. There's some
blocking.
Sequences where it's like, oh, there's a big pillar between them. I get it.
There's like nighttime shit where they're only like lit by the reflection of like the moon.
It
and
looks fine.
Right. I was like, there's some actual like sort of like growth happening here cinematically that also looks different from either of her parents' movies. Is its own thing. I was like just very satisfied by this. It is like a Gentleman 6 with a couple like incredibly locked in performances. And some stuff that is deranged and totally doesn't work.
Ben, what was your thoughts on Goodrich?
So gentle. Just nice.
It's nice.
It's a comfy movie.
You were leaning back.
Yeah.
Taking it in.
Shedding tears.
I shed some tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, the like art world sort of stuff. I feel like maybe we could have dug in more or something. Like I felt like there was comedy there to be mined.
Well, like Pollock being his partner, you're like, oh, these 2 guys together. This feels like a good pairing. And as Marie said, he's like just kind of there. Doesn't really do anything.
Yeah. There's just some stuff that just felt like it was just very surface level.
I mean, it's like the classic rom-com thing of like your rich characters either like work in architecture or an art gallery or like the 2 go-tos. It feels like you always land on those 2. And to have Hallie Meyer-Shire after like Home Again is about like my divorced parents were very successful filmmakers. This time she's trying to get away from filmmaking. And the best she can land on is like art gallery, which is I would say a profession that is weirdly overrepresented in film relative to how many people do it in the world.
Of course.
And I'm always a big proponent of like, if you just give your character an interesting job that is not in movies very often, you're already gaining points from that. Versus art gallery feels like kind of a placeholder or whatever.
Yeah. The times we see him be a dad to the twins, it's basically dropping them off at school and then dealing with them at home before he goes out.
Making them lunches and stuff. Yeah,
I thought this movie was going to be more prestige old dogs than it is.
There needed to be more. Just something else.
But there's the risk with kid characters where it's like, how much time do you want to spend with these kind of cutesy kid characters? It's like he can get a little
totally.
Yeah.
It felt, very surface level.
Yeah, I agree.
I also agree.
The scene where he has to explain rehab to them is like the one that feels the most effective, and you're like, this guy's figuring out his own language to actually relate to them. It's got good pieces.
Mila's character just is like so barely anything.
It feels like they had her for 10 days and all her scenes are her walking in and it's just like, well, I just don't know what to do because I have this relationship with my dad. Like, like she's kind of, like you say, kind of explaining herself.
Truly feels like they could have shot her out in a week if they busted their ass.
It's just weird because it feels like that would be the character that would be the one that she would want to dig in the most.
Look, to Marie's point about it being interesting that the film's not from the vantage point of the character that is seemingly based on the filmmaker, right? Lorraine Scafaria is the meddler.
Great movie.
Right. But is similarly a movie.
dramedy tone.
But where you're like, oh, Sarandon really is the lead of this. Like Rose Byrne is clearly playing a stand-in character for her and her relationship with her mother, but the movie is from the vantage point of the mother. And it feels interesting to see someone make a film about their experiences and their relationships and not set it from their perspective. But in that movie, I think Rose Byrne feels like a fully realized person. Is a more successful version of this movie in general.
I would agree. The Meddler's a better movie
Right.
than this, and that's a good director.
But it's like she's having a baby, and the scene is so much more about Keaton's character.
Yes, but
and his experience of
but
that
I kind of liked that in that there's just so many movies where they're like, and now we end with the big baby sequence, right? And it's like, no. She's actually going to be fine. She has figured her shit out. Does she have a complicated relationship with her dad? Yes, but she knows that. And she's only mad at herself for kind of like letting him in more. And then he lets her down a little bit and she's sad about it. But like, she's going to have the baby. She found her person. He's nice.
Yeah.
There's a nice scene where
She's
he
gonna be
calms
fine.
her down.
She's a senior
You
entertainment
think
writer.
he's a bit of a dork.
He's such a fucking dork.
He's such a huge dork.
I was
But
on
in a
Keaton's
sweet
side.
way. Yeah, Keaton's like, fuck this guy.
This guy's such a fucking dork.
And yes, no, it's more about him, which you're right that it's a bit of a choice to be like, yeah, this is a Michael Keaton character movie, not a Mila Kunis. And you'd think Hallie Meyershare would want it to be a Mila Kunis movie more. I don't know. I'm not mad about it though.
No.
And because we're trying to, be somewhat vague.
Yeah. But we've spoiled the basic things. I do just feel like the line he has at the end, which Marie and I felt like it's an ambitious swing. She's looking for a big, iconic, a sort of Jerry Maguire-esque, what is the one sentence this guy can say that is an emotional gut punch?
Right.
And it's an ambitious line. Like you hear it and you're like, that's a wild choice. I think the movie doesn't quite pull it off, but I also don't want to spoil it because your mileage may vary and your mileage is going to be based on you not knowing what the line is.
There is the very LA-y scenes that are just like fun little moments. The nightclub and the class.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah. I
Those
mean, the
scenes are
nightclub.
I just wanted more.
Yeah.
Because Keaton's good at
Specific-
reacting to that.
Yeah, he like
His reaction
Oh my
shots during
God.
Carmen Ejogo's performance,
incredible.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like that, I think probably.
I go to like any feminist art night I can find.
I think that played the most laughs.
Yes. I mean, the biggest laugh the entire screening we went to was, I'm a senior entertainment writer.
Well, of course.
That
yes.
the audience, the critic screening
Yes.
audience really laughed at that one.
But also speaking to how underdeveloped that character is, it's like 40 minutes in, she like yells what her job is for the first time and then basically never comes up again.
No.
I understand she's on leave.
Why are you talking? You're a great writer. Why are you talking?
Right, you'll write a profile or you won't, you'll quit, whatever.
Yeah, she seems to already be on leave.
Yes.
Couldn't really figure that out.
Right, like the job thing like doesn't, yeah.
Anyway, apparently Jackie Sandler's in this movie. Did you spot her?
Who's the daughter or the wife? Jackie Tatone? Sandler?
I don't know. I'm looking on Wikipedia right now. Let me look on
Okay.
IMDb.
Sadie Sandler's right. He's got two daughters, but I
She's
feel,
not on IMDb, so maybe
okay. Maybe it was cut out. Maybe it was
Yeah.
cut out. Yeah, a lot of comedy people in this.
Sure.
Chloe Trost, Lisa Traeger.
Who did Chloe Trost play?
Chloe Trost is at the bar when he goes to the feminist night.
Uh-huh.
She's the one who sells him the ticket.
Oh, that scene was kind of funny.
Yeah, she's kind of funny in it.
Yeah,
And then
that-
Lisa
that
Traeger's
was a
on stage
classic
performing.
Keaton scene because
Keaton
like,
misunderstood.
he just brings a little spice to it.
Yes.
But yeah, she's like, it's $20 or $25 online, and he's like, I'm right here.
Yeah,
or
I'm right
whatever.
here, so
Like,
it's 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
Like,
made that
just
funny.
That fucking rhythm of Keaton dialogue is just like it will never not satisfy me.
Do you want to do the box office game for Joker Folie à Deux?
Yeah.
Box office game.
What about it, Ben? What about it?
Yes, of course.
What?
Sponsored by our friends at Regal
Our
Cinemas.
fine friends at Regal Cinemas.
Whoa.
It's time to put a crown upon the box office game.
We love to play the box office game, of course, but it is so exciting
It's very exciting.
that we are sponsored by Regal.
We love the movies and we love theatrical movie going, and we're very excited to be entering a very nice friendship with Regal that is all in the name of trying to support and endorse the idea of going to the movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joker. So we'll do the Joker Folie à Deux, the now notorious Joker Folie à Deux opening weekend.
Let's laugh.
No Joker popcorn bucket. No Goodrich popcorn bucket.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No. Oh, you're kidding me. What would that look like?
But Regal has an excellent Venom bucket, which they did send us.
Yeah.
To Marie's point, we have to acknowledge.
What would the Goodrich bucket be, though?
What would the Goodrich bucket be? That's a good question.
Like, genuinely.
Is there like a definitive prop in Goodrich?
That's
Well, you can think about it.
The bucket I would want is clearly like a version of the Deadpool bucket, but just with Michael Keaton's face. I just want that bucket. Yeah. What?
Of course, the original Joker, 2019's Joker, opened to $96 million and made $335 domestic and $1 billion worldwide.
Her pregnant belly.
Oh yeah,
Then
very convincing.
There, no, you're saying that should be the bucket?
Yeah.
That's another weird thing is at the beginning of the movie, his wife, like the movie cold opens on him getting called from his wife, who's like, I left for rehab. I'm gone for 90 days.
I have a pill addiction. How did you not notice?
It would be impossible to track the passage of time for this in this movie other than Mila Kunis's belly, where you're just like, oh, 2 months have passed?
So Joker 1 opened very highly.
There was a very good Reddit thread, dare I give him credit, r/blankies, about how Joker 2 falls into the rare category of the inverse of my favorite kind of box office stat.
Okay. Yes. It will
almost
make
certainly
less. It will 100% certainly make less than the prior film's opening weekend.
Alone. Its entire run.
Yes.
Yes. So
which has happened a few times. Yes.
Alice Through the Looking Glass is the other big example.
That's another big one.
Yes.
Yep. So Joker Folie à Deux, yeah, I think originally they were probably hoping for like, hey, maybe we'll open like Joker. And then it became like, well, it's probably going to get like 60, 70 mil. And then it became like, oh, well, we're shooting for 50 mil. And then it became like, it looks like it's going to be 40 mil. And then it came in at 37 mil.
It kept going down.
Yeah.
I mean, David, you're even like, I'm sure their optimism at first was like, does this thing open to like 150?
Sure, we got Lady Gaga, right?
The first one opened to like 95 and then won Oscars and also held really well. Yes, it ended up opening way, like basically close to a third of what the first movie opened to.
And of course, then, not that we're doing this box office game, but the next weekend it dropped 81%, essentially a record.
Yeah.
And will probably not clear like 60 million at the box office.
I was looking at the list of things that have had worse drops than Folie à Deux, and a lot of them are like Fathom event re-releases, which I don't think should count.
Those don't count.
One of the only other major studio movies I saw that was still above it is Geely.
Geely, I think, is the only one.
Yeah.
I think it dropped 82%. Like, it's a very similar kind of thing.
It got a D cinema score, which is the worst in the history of comic book movies.
That means everyone coming out, the average was a D.
Yes.
That's why it's really hard to go that low on the cinema scores.
Right. When a movie gets like a B- cinema score, they're like, not great.
Bad word of mouth, unless it's a horror movie. Anyway, Joker Folie à Deux, number 1. What's number 2, Griffin? I think you saw it.
Number 2 at the box office isn't Transformers 1.
No, that is number 4 at the box office.
A film I saw.
And you did like.
Quite good. I think you will love. It's a real, would have been your favorite movie as a 10-year-old.
I can't wait to watch it probably on streaming.
You will watch it.
Sorry, I'm busy right now.
I believe his movie I've not yet seen because I was traveling and I'm now trying to time out taking my little cousins to see it is The Wild Robot.
The Wild Robot at number 2, which is chugging along healthily, got good reviews, obviously. Seems
small
like the
drops.
Sort of animated film frontrunner for the year.
People love it.
Yes.
A triumph.
Haven't seen it yet, though. Wild Robot, number 2. Transformers 1, number 4. Sandwich in between them, Griffin. One of the big success stories of the fall.
Oh, Beetlejuice.
Michael
Keaton Fall.
Which is digitally available to rent and buy right now, or at least rent, and outgross Joker Folie à Deux in the next weekend.
Joker's second weekend with its historic drop.
$7 million.
On like Monday or Tuesday, they amended the numbers and said it actually was even worse than we thought, and Beetlejuice is ahead of it. Beetlejuice, like, fucking staying in there.
That's number 3. Transformers 1, number 4. Number 5 is a horror remake that did pretty well.
It's a horror remake.
We talked about the actor on this episode.
We talked about the actor on this episode.
The star.
I assume neither of us have seen it.
I have not seen it. I don't think you've seen it either.
It's a horror remake that did pretty well. Of a franchise or of a single film?
It is a single film, and it's a remake of a single film, a foreign horror film.
Oh, it's Speak No Evil.
Yes, Speak No Evil, with
which
James
I feel like
McAvoy.
people like as well.
I've heard mixed to positive things about it.
Yeah.
The movie it's remaking was one of those Sundance movies where people were like, Yeah, good tension. And then the last act is the most unspeakable shit you've ever seen. And I was just kind of like, I'll catch up to it.
Our friend Sean Fennessy was posting about this. I found it kind of fascinating. Was doing a sort of like check-in on the year of horror, right? And for a while, it was like you could release any shitty horror movie in theaters. It would open to 15, 20-ish range, like as a basement, and basically get to $50 million.
Right.
Speak No Evil is kind of like, I think it's the 4th highest grossing horror film of the year. And
Sure.
it's at like mid to high 30s.
Yeah, it's made like 35.
There is a tier of like Alien Romulus, which I think counts.
That counts. Sure.
Long Legs.
Yeah.
And there's one other one. A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 that like really crossed over.
Yeah.
Then there's a huge gulf.
Mhm.
Everything then is like the 30 range is like Night Swim, Abigail, like movies in their 20s or 30s. And then he's like, but then the other chunk of it is the amount of like IFC Midnight films that made it to 10.
Right. Like you can make a decent amount of money on your tiny movie, like you're in a Violent Nature
Right.
or whatever.
That like the middle of horror is kind of shrinking.
Right.
But the low end of horror is growing. And let's say the thing that beat Joker in its second weekend was fucking Terrifier 3, which in its opening weekend made more than the entire lifetime grosses of Terrifier 1 and 2 combined by a multiple. Is like an insane homegrown phenomenon.
I will not see Terrifier 3 anytime soon just because those movies are very seem very long and punishing. I've been meaning to kind of like dip my toe into that world.
That's my thing. There's part of me that's like,
check it
do
out.
we need to know? But yeah.
I'll get to it. My friend Andrew, sort of one of my big horror movie friends, has been like pushing it for me, but I don't know. I watched Tarot, okay? I watched Tarot.
I can't believe you watched Tarot.
Well, I basically, in the throes of like really early parenting these twins, I was like, look, I cannot get outside to see movies. So I'll just catch up on any 2024 movies that I can just watch on streaming right now. Tarot was one of them.
Uh-huh. What else was in that pool?
Oh, I can tell you. Young Woman in the Sea, which
I can't believe I still haven't seen it. I need to watch
it's on
that.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Wolves. I watched Spaceman.
Oh, yeah.
Which I really wanted to vibe with more, but like there are things I liked about it. I watched like Will and Harper, like, stuff that's on. I watched
Harper,
Abigail.
Undeniably effective. Abigail, I wish worked better.
But there's stuff in
there's
Abigail.
Stuff.
But it doesn't
There
totally
are chunks of Abigail where I was like, is this thing about to start like rocking the house
I think Melissa
so hard?
Barrera kind of drags it down a little
agree.
bit. And I don't dislike her always, but
no. I think Catherine
got
Newton's
characters
sort of incredible in it.
Yeah, and I liked, Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens is
being a
fun.
guy.
Yeah.
I watched Lisa Frankenstein, which I wanted to like more,
Sure.
didn't really dig. I watched The Idea of You, which is like, that's like gas flood cinema.
Sure.
Where you're like, what is anyone doing in this movie?
Yeah.
I watched Mean Girls, which
Uh-huh.
I thought was pretty bad.
Okay, but Connor?
Yeah, no, that's great. It's just, the thing with Mean Girls is you're like, oh, the dialogue's the same as Mean Girls.
Right.
This
And,
is
like,
just Mean Girls again.
Some of the supporting actors are the same.
And then,
you
but then they do
basically-
these songs that are like fine.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
But also you're going to like have them wear the same outfits largely.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
And basically like, yeah.
Beekeeper, liked.
I still need to see Beekeeper.
Monkey Man, appreciated the ambition, didn't really work for me.
I wish I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, things like that.
Hey, but at least it's a good like proof of concept for him to be Bond.
I agree.
Sure.
I mean,
he's
that was
compelling.
my single biggest thing walking away from it was like, yeah, let fucking Dev do shit like this. Yeah. I would be so ecstatic. I'm just waiting for the Bond announcement to be something that I roll my eyes at.
Yeah, it'll be.
He's maybe the only one who would excite me.
It won't be.
It won't be him.
He's kind of too famous. Yeah, like Late Night with the Devil. The Substance had a really
In a
great
Violent
run,
Nature.
obviously.
Substance is still
Nature.
like having very small drops.
Yeah.
Like Substance will probably outgross the third weekend of Joker
Oh yeah.
in
We
its
love it.
6th week now.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Substance rules. Yeah. No, it's an interesting time for horror.
So that's all the box office game. You've also got Deadpool and Wolverine still hanging out. You got White Bird, A Wonder Story, finally out in theaters. You can go see it if you want to. The Substance, as you mentioned, Megalopolis, chugging along.
Yeah, we forgot to really talk about that. You still have not seen it, right?
No, that's why I
Yeah,
would have brought it
okay.
up otherwise. I couldn't
saw
see it
it.
because I had to see
People
fucking
were
Joker.
asking why we weren't combining Joker with Megalopolis or doing a Megalopolis
do
episode.
Coppola
That's
one
my
day.
thing. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Get out of here.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I'll put it this way. I unequivocally enjoyed watching Megalopolis in a way I did not with Joker. I felt a lot more tapped into what he was trying to do. I could not argue it totally works. I was compelled by every second of it. I found it very watchable.
I think for the Goodrich weekend, Goodrich probably not popping on that top 5. we'll have Smile 2, which I am hearing is pretty good.
I've heard that it's secretly about trauma.
Well, Terrifier 3 will still be up there. Wild Robot will still be up there. I imagine Beetlejuice will still be up there.
Very likely still in the 5.
And Joker probably won't be. So I wonder if there's anything else that sneaks in. If there's anything, what else is coming out this week?
I mean, the question is Goodrich, which I'm just like, I do feel like the awareness is very low on the movie.
Yeah, I don't think
he's hosting SNL this weekend, which I'm very excited about.
I love that.
It will have, I guess, just happened when this episode comes out. Yeah.
Wait, oh my God, what else is coming out this week? I just sent you a link in your text message.
Oh my God.
This?
Wait a second. Not at the box office, but on our computer screens?
What?
Wait a second.
We're
These
very
are
excited to say.
T-shirts?
New merch drop. And kind of not even that, just a new era for merch.
Yeah.
Yes, we have changed our sort of storefront, right? We've got a new provider of merch, Kinship Goods.
Look, we've been making a lot of changes. I think most of them are things that you might not even notice as a listener of the show. And the ones you do notice will hopefully be just entirely positive for you. There was a lot of stuff going on this year, especially this summer, especially as David was also in prep daddy duty.
And I'm still going through a lot of stuff,
of
just
course.
to be clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where our heads were down and we were not communicating a lot of things. And I think people were worried, like, did they just not give a shit about the podcast anymore? And in fact, the opposite. We have all been
very much give a shit about this.
We've been really actually burning the midnight oil, trying to do a bunch of stuff. Very excited leading into our 10th anniversary in March.
We have some really exciting things coming up for next year.
In every area, we got a lot of stuff we're planning. We're excited about what's on the schedule. We're excited about things we're doing outside of the show. And the new merch we're doing with Kinship Goods.
Correct.
If you are a podcast fan, you might be familiar with them already because of their incredible work doing merch with the Doughboys, the Action Boys, Threedom, Stay at Homekins. They are now going to be the exclusive home of Blank Check merchandise.
Yeah, and so for our first batch of products, we have 3 t-shirts. We're doing a limited edition print of our Twin Peaks designed by Joe Bowen. We also have the hashtag 2 friends, sort of referencing the Pep Boys type of design.
We previously only had that on a hat. We're doing it as a shirt now.
We have this is kind of a big deal. The debut of Checky.
The first ever Checky merch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm sure he'll have something to say about that.
We also have some cool stickers and a hat with the logo, as well as a reprint of the clap board.
Yes. That was a very popular tote bag. Yeah.
On a canvas tote bag. And we'll have plenty more deliveries coming up in the future.
This is the first phase,
Yep.
but we got some more stuff coming. We got big ambitions. We love Kinship Goods. They've been really fun to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Excited about this.
So
excited about the more stuff coming.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're going to try and really work towards throughout the year, trying to every few months, quarterly, whatever. Let's not overpromise, but try to be more regular with offering limited edition and just cool new products.
Yes. Look, I'm not gonna do some big emotional thing. 500 episodes. As we said, the Joker episode was almost exactly 5 years ago.
Yep.
Around that time, we decided we wanted to go independent.
Yeah.
Stake out on our own,
Sure.
give this a shot. And some things happen in the world.
True.
Basically, immediately concurrent with that decision. And the whole process of us figuring out how to make the show independently became difficult. And for a long time, it was just figuring out enough to keep the show coming out every week, to keep it afloat, all these things. And there's been a lot of trial and error. And it feels like we, after having some time to reset, have done some re-strategizing that I think is going to be really good for the future of the podcast. And will be reflected in things like the merch and a little more intentionality and regularity of things. And I think for the 10th anniversary, not to call shots before we have them, but that we're talking about some cool collaborations, some things that might happen to celebrate the 10th anniversary that hopefully are exciting to people who care about the show.
I hope so.
I love you guys. Ben has to sneeze.
I'm trying
you
to
guys
hold
too.
it.
And please keep listening to our show. I have 3 children now, and I need, the support.
Let's not stress them out. But maybe
let's put a little stress on them, actually. Let's stress them out.
Your support is beyond appreciated.
Yes, it is. Very much
It is incredible the way we've been able to grow this thing and grow it to something that has been able to allow us to hire our friends and work with more and more people and bring more people into the family of the show. And it's wow.
Yeah.
I look back on it, it still kind of boggles the mind.
We got good stuff coming up in 2025. We got fun stuff coming.
I think, look, I don't think anyone could possibly guess what's coming up in 2025. People haven't the faintest clue, but we have stuff on the schedule that I think is like good shit. Conceptualizing March Madness, excited about everything. David needs some sleep.
Oh, sure. What am I going to do, you know?
Who do you think sleeps better at this point? You or the twins?
I sleep better than the twins.
Okay, that's what I was guessing.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other news? No? Cool. Goodrich.
Goodrich.
500 more episodes.
Yeah,
I'm calling
let's
it.
fucking call it.
Let's call it.
Yeah.
Get to one. What should we do for 1,000? Joker 3?
Yeah.
It comes back?
It comes back.
Somehow.
Yeah.
One of us
Somehow
is just like,
Joker is returned.
I don't know. Let's do
Yeah.
Joker 3.
Do you agree with me though that this will be like maybe an end to automatic sequels combined with the Marvels?
I love that idea of like, right, them being like, I don't care if your movie was the biggest movie of the year. I am not sold on just letting you do another one.
We've talked about another blank check history thing, but like Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes being such a big hit and everyone being like, we know we can't make another one, that people will reject it. And then it feels like the studios lost sight of that. And for a while it would work and they could trick people into coming back to sequels to movies they hated or just didn't really love. And it feels like much like Spielberg and Lucas predicted in that fucking interview years ago.
Yep.
Where like these
It's been
tentpoles
going
are going to
around.
start collapsing and everyone's going to have to rethink the whole business model. Joker 2 bombing at this level, I think, is good for film.
Yes, it is a profound and necessary rejection
Not in
from
like a
audiences.
vindictive way where we feel validated
No,
that the
just
sequel to
like,
a movie we
let's-
didn't like is a bomb.
Let's take a new approach, guys.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, grab yourself
Some blank check merch at Kinship Goods.
a law hammer. Is that what they're called?
A law hammer?
A gavel.
Grab a
But
gavel.
now they're called law hammers.
And by the way, blank check branded law hammers coming to Kinship Good in 2025.
and bonk your ass
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you don't like it.
he bonks the judge, but then it's a dream, so who cares?
But isn't it a reference to something, or is that Harley that carries the mallet?
she
Yes.
often will carry a mallet. But Justin, I think more. No, does she do it in the cartoons too?
Both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Here's another thing that he kisses Catherine Keener twice, that it feels like it's a double beat where he was just like, I don't know, where does this scene go? I don't know. Let's put it in both times. This movie's so fucking sloppy.
Yeah.
Very slow.
Thank you all for listening.
Yes.
Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Thank you to Marie Barty for helping to produce the show and being here for the good chunk of the episode. Thank you to AJ McKeon for our editing, being our production coordinator, Leigh Montgomery, The Great American Novel, for our theme song, Joe Bow and Pat Reynolds for our artwork, JJ Birch for researching the Book of Law. He was on his own private research project trying to figure out whether or not the Joker was guilty. And he's built a compelling case that, in fact, the Joker did murder the guy that he murdered on camera. I don't know where I'm going with this. Tune in next week for
Lost Highway
with David Lowery.
Great episode.
Return to the Show. Great episode. Back to Lynch, riding us out through the rest of the year. Patreon, finishing up tabletop games with David's beloved Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves,
Absolutely.
as represented by action figures on his desk.
It's a fun one.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, having a great time.
Yeah.
And as always,
Should we announce though? Nah, we'll wait. Or should we just tell them?
let's just say it.
Fuck it.
Next Patreon series, Andrew Lloyd Webber, baby.
Yep. 4 musicals that are filmed just
Like
Chris
musicals.
Superstar. Yes. Evita, Phantom of the Opera,
And we're ending the year on Cats.
and Cats.
Cats, baby.
Cats.
It's going to be good. And as always, it is worth calling out that both Joker Folie à Deux and Goodrich end with covers of Daniel Johnston's True Love Will Find You in the End. These two movies both end with the same fucking song at very different
Yeah,
interpretations,
to different effect.
at very different meanings.
Yeah.